All right, we're live. What's up, Calvin? How you doing?
What's up, man? Glad to be back.
Say we have Monday Night Football. Big shocker, another one-score game. Who would have thought?
Mm, happens every week, man. Well, Saints didn't lose by one score on Monday night,
Yeah, well, that's the
so
Saints. They suck.
oh man, we're creeping down the tier list every single week.
Yeah, I would not be opposed to putting them in the ass category at this point, but we'll get to them later because we have some thoughts on that game. But Bills Jets, I mean, that was an interesting one. It's really sucked for me because I needed Tyler Bass to not forget how to kick. But what do you think of that game?
Well, shout out to Tyler Bass for kicking probably one of the worst balls I've seen. Um, does not help you, but it was funny to look at, and that's one way you can look at it. You can laugh about it. Um, Aaron Rodgers almost broke his streak tonight of not having a 300-yard passing game. I believe he was 4 yards short of 300 yards. Um, I am an Aaron Rodgers hater, so I am very glad the streak has continued because Drew Brees would never. Um, and he stole two MVPs from him, but whatever. Um, Garrett Wilson got hit with a hospital ball by Aaron Rodgers, so shout out. But Aaron Rodgers probably has probably 1,500 perks in his locker, so Garrett will be fine, I'm sure. Um,
I just saw a post going back to your 300-yard thing. It's Aaron Rodgers immunized to 300-yard passing games since 2021.
yep, man, yeah, he's so much better than Drew Brees, right? Hadn't thrown a fucking 300-yard game in 3 years. Yeah, he's so fucking good, right? He's so much better than Drew. Whatever, whatever.
I will say that
Um,
being said, as fun as it is to hate, did offense did look a lot better for them, and I think part of it is the Bills' defense isn't what it was to start the season since they've been banged up. They've had a lot of injuries, but I mean, it looked better. I think it's clear that Hackett's just not a good OC, so good on them for replacing him as the with the play calling duties, and you could really see what the difference was. They got the passing game going a lot better. I mean, I know a lot of the yardage came on that Hail Mary, so it does kind of skew things, but also running the ball. They figured out a way to make Brees Hall actually work. He had 18 carries for 113 yards. They realized Brees Hall's probably our best player. It's either him or Garrett Wilson. But Brees Hall has a big game. Garrett Wilson has a big game. Get the ball to your best players instead of doing whatever they're doing, making Brees Hall into an irrelevant running back.
there's also something to be said because I'm gonna need to check the stats on this, but I feel like anytime the coach gets fired, that team wins their next game.
That's a real
I
thing.
remember the
It's
Raiders.
it's the interim
I remember
head
the Raiders
coach
won.
bump because
Yeah,
you
like
have all
the
these teams
Raiders
like
won there.
you go from being dead or whatever to you have the interim coach come in, and the first week he's gonna come in, he gets the team all fired up. They're like, yeah, we want to play for this guy. We're ready. We're gonna go out win, and then usually those teams, even if they don't win, they're gonna play really well. You never want to play a team the week after they fire their coach. Now, the weeks leading up for the rest of the season, usually that's when things start to fall apart. Unless, I mean, sometimes it'll work out well like the Raiders, where they just keep playing for them the whole way. But this is going to be an interesting situation for the Jets because, on the one hand, they looked a lot better under the interim. They put up a great fight. But on the other hand, they're now 2-4, lost a game. Are they going to be able to keep it together, or is it going to fall apart?
Well, just like all these teams that hire a new head coach or an interim comes in, it usually fizzles out. I remember Jeff Saturday when he got hired for that was a weird timeline. Jeff Saturday
What a
being
hire.
hired for like 6 games, and it's like, all right, peace out. I'll suck at this. Bye. Um, they fizzled out. Um, the Raiders fizzled out. And I guess they're still fizzling out. I don't know. Jets will in fact fizzle out, but god damn it, I want that feeling. I want my coach for the Saints to be fired, and then Darren Rizzi comes in. I'd play hard for Darren Rizzi. That guy's great. See, I'm talking about the Saints again. Let me stop. Let me get off track. Um, but I remember earlier in the week there was reports that was saying, "Yeah, we're going to get Brees Hall the ball," and I actually love when teams have this look in the mirror moment and they say, "Why the hell are we not doing X and X? Because why in the hell are you not involving Brees Hall?" So they're like, "We're going to give Brees Hall the ball." Now, damn it, drinking game. Calvin says Saints. Now, of course, the Saints said the same thing. Oh yeah, we're going to get Chris Olave the ball, and then he dies on the first play. So,
That
so
was
much for that
crazy. The
plan.
the spin that they did on that, where they're like, "Oh yeah, it was a hard hit." The commentators did not once a single time throughout that game mention that it was a helmet to helmet hit.
Neither did Mike Pereira, who came in and was like, "Yeah, I looked at this replay thoroughly, and it was just a big hit." I'm like, "Okay, sure, sure," but um, God forbid Paulson Debo would have did that. He would have been fucking shot and hung outside the Superdome
And the
by
Saints might have
Roger
gotten better
Goodell's
for
help.
it.
Yeah, like well, yeah,
To be
I would have
fair,
gotten
he
better.
did have a good. He's been getting a lot of hate. He did have a good game having that pick. I mean, I guess good game in general with that play, but tackling was a different story. But back to the Bills Jets before we ramble.
Ha. Um, but I think it's
Drake
just more to
Mayweather.
be said about Nathaniel Hackett also not play calling anymore. Um, Man, that does wonders for a fucking team, doesn't it? I don't know who's worse, Pete Carmichael and Nathaniel Hackett. I don't know. Like, they might be the same person. I'll be honest.
Man, that is
Um,
a very tough one. I still have to give the nod to Carmichael just because I think that he did less with more, but I don't know. If you put those two
it is
minds together, they might be able to average 10 points a game.
maybe 10. I mean, we might be talking about Iowa's defense. I mean, not Iowa's defense. Iowa at this. Oh man, Preston. No. See, we didn't even get to talk about the Patriots before he left.
And that's a
Oh,
shame.
that's a shame.
We'll see if
Um,
he'll be back. Preston's been feeling sick, so he doesn't have much of a voice, but he was very excited before he got sick to talk about Drake May as a big Patriots fan. But I mean, yeah, if we're gonna get to this Bills team. So we talked about the Jets offense. The Bills, I mean, they're a team that I know they got the win, so gives them a cushion in the division, starting the season off strong, so good on them, but when we did that tier list a couple weeks ago, we had them up there as a contender. I feel like this is a team now after seeing them since then. Might want to knock them down to they're a solid team, but they've got a lot of question marks. Receiving, do you want to know who their receiving leading receiver was this game?
was it Curtis Samuel
It was
or Khalif?
Ray Davis. 3 catches for
Right,
55 yards.
the running back,
Their running back had their leading
the rookie
receiver.
running back.
And they had Dalton Kincaid, who, good on him finally having a good game, 6 for 51. Their leading receiver, who was an actual receiver, was Curtis Samuel with 44 yards. Excuse me. Keon Coleman, 3 for 26. Khalil Shakir, 2 for 19. Matt Collins, 1 for 8. They're getting. I know that the Jets have a very good secondary, especially with Sauce Gardner, but they're getting absolutely nothing out of their receiving core. And it might have been the right move to give up on Diggs because things weren't going well with him there. It just seemed like the chemistry was off, and quite frankly, he didn't look very good. Like he's looked a lot better with the Texans now, but he didn't look good last season, and he was getting older on a big contract. Moving on from him, sure, that's a good move, but you got to replace him. That's what they didn't do. I mean, they get a second round receiver and Curtis Samuel, and that's their plan to replace Stephon Diggs. So poor planning right there, and you're seeing the fruit of that right now. But shout out Ray Davis though, coming in, filling in for James Cook. 20 carries, 97 yards, 3 receptions, 55 yards. I think he definitely can have a role for this team going forward. It's just a shame that he's not a receiver because that's what they really need.
Ray Davis is not helping my Ray Davis, uh Sean Tucker, I think his name. Those two are not helping my case of pay your running backs. They're not helping with the games they've had. Tyrone Tracy, same thing. Not helping out my case. David Montgomery, I guess, is helping out my case. But I guess we'll get to them later. But oh, Preston's back. Hey, bud.
Welcome
Um,
back,
How's it going?
Preston. How you
We
feeling?
love Drake May. Honestly, like 6-0 in fantasy. We scored more passing touchdowns, even though we lost. But hey, scored more passing touchdowns in one game than the entire season. So I'd count that as a W.
It is, and I think now that Preston's back, that's the perfect point to transition.
yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on that Patriots Texans game? Drake May making his debut.
I think we're gonna win a couple games with Drake May. I do believe. I mean, realistically, the Texans D line is the best we'll face all year, other than the Jets again. Um, and that's kind of later on. I guess it's like 3 weeks from now, maybe. But he's gonna have some time to like kind of get the feel of everything. And I mean, even like the first drive wasn't good. He threw an interception, but then after that, he really got into a rhythm. Had 3 passing touchdowns, led the team in rushing. It was only like 50 something yards, but hey, still led the team in rushing behind that miserable line. And I mean, he didn't look comfortable per se in the pocket. I don't think anyone would in that scheme or that team right now. But he definitely looked like he could make moves around in the pocket, and that's for me that's impressive with our line because you saw Jacoby Brissett literally just stand there like a sitting duck and get killed week in week out. Um, but other than that, he did have another interception later on in the game, but it was tipped in the air, and the guy literally caught it around our receiver. It was just incredibly unlucky. I don't really count that against him. But other than that, I think we got our guy. I really do.
I'll give him his flowers because I was someone who was not very high on Drake May. I thought that he is another one of those quarterbacks that has all the quote unquote tools. He's got the big arm, he's got all that athleticism, but hasn't really put any of that together in college. And most of the time, those guys don't put it
Hold
together.
on, you said they didn't put it together in college. Dude, the dude led
He
North Carolina
did.
in passing and rushing
No,
one year.
he did. But what I was saying is he did it in a very college way where he was still raw in a lot of facets. And that's what I was saying. He's one of those more raw prospects where there's a lot of questions with a bit of his mechanics, a bit of his decision making, all that. You knew that he had all the talent, but his feel for the quarterback position was something that he didn't really demonstrate in college, which that's something that college quarterbacks don't really need to demonstrate much because it's the game's so much easier there that you can get away with not making the greatest reads all the time, not like having the best decision making in the pocket. Because if you're just more athletic and more talented than everyone else and have a good receiver or two, you're going to be able to ball out in college. And you see that with guys like Bryce Young. But I'll give him a lot of credit because he looked like he had a great feel for the position in this game. He was moving in the pocket well, and the thing that really stood out was how he was going through his progressions. You'd see him looking at his number one read, then transitioning to his number two, his number three, and not getting stuck on guys. And, I mean, there's still a lot of moments where he looked like a rookie. I mean, he had some inaccuracy. He took a lot of sacks. He took 4 sacks. Now, a lot of that's more
Yeah,
on the
let's be real.
offensive
I mean,
line
look, I
because,
get that he had time to prepare, but at the same time, like none of the rookie quarterbacks this year had a passing touchdown until what, week 2 or 3?
mhm.
And his
Yeah,
first game, he comes out and gets 3.
and that's what I'm saying. Like, he wasn't perfect. His QBR was 31. Like he had the 2 picks. One of them was tipped though, so you can't blame him for that. He was inaccurate on some throws, but the biggest takeaway for me was just how he really looked comfortable. Like especially with that O line being able to be at all comfortable is impressive. But
And I think that's the most impressive part because that O line is trash, bro. Like
it's so
it,
bad.
I tried to like hope that it was gonna be better than this, but I think we have the worst O line in the league. And like I said, you saw Brissett just look like a sitting duck, and like he didn't look comfortable. And the only knock I can give on May, which then again really isn't a mock, because like Brissett was having guys open, but it was difficult passes that he wouldn't make and just stand there and get sacked instead. May was at least attempting to make those throws, and one of those did lead to him throwing that first interception. But at the same time, like at least we have someone that is willing to throw the ball deep. We had a 40-yard passing touchdown. That's the longest passing touchdown we've had in like 3 years since I think Cam Newton.
And
So
it was a
like
beautiful ball too.
that's big. I mean, it was on the money, and like everyone's like knocked on our receivers. Our like even Keyshawn Boutte was getting like good reps, man.
Mhm.
You know,
You had Pop Douglas there, 6 for 92 and a touchdown. Check your waiver
Pop
wires
Douglas.
for him.
Pop Douglas has always been good. Not gonna lie to you. I mean, I think Blake has him in our league, but he's been good. It's
He
just
has.
Brissett has not he's been getting open. And if you've watched our plays, if you go on any Patriots Twitter or fan base, anything like that, you see that Pop Douglas has low key been getting irritated the past couple weeks because he's been open and Brissett just won't make throws.
I will say the one takeaway that I have with the Patriots, so we said what we say about Drake Maye. It's such an interesting situation. First of all, I think this was a terrible, it didn't end up too bad. He got beat up a little bit, but he was able to show some stuff. I think this was a terrible first game to start him playing against this D-line, but it's going to be a very interesting year for his development because...
Yes and no, because I honestly believe, I think that D-line, like I said, it's going to be the toughest one we face all year. Now, after this, he's going to have, teams like the Jets who have good DBs and a good defense. The Jets is going to be the toughest game, I think. Other than that, we really don't face a tough defense for the rest of the year.
Well, that's kind of what I was getting at. Maybe not the greatest choice to start him against this team, but at the same time, Brissett had looked so bad. It was time to make a change. It's just tough, but it's going to be really interesting for his development how this season turns out because it's going to be great for him getting the playing time, but he's just stuck in such a bad situation where they have no offensive line. They have no run game. They just really have nothing going. They have nothing going for them. But he's able to do stuff and make plays. Go ahead.
We do have the Jets in 2 weeks. We do have the Jets in 2 weeks. We play Jacksonville and London next week. Then we got Tennessee, Chicago, Los Angeles Rams, Miami, and the Colts. And then Arizona after a bye week. All of those defenses are awful.
Well, the Bears have a really good defense.
The Bears do have a good defense, but they still have been giving up points. It hasn't been they haven't been elite, I would say, compared to the Jets and the Houston D-line. And then we play Buffalo and the Chargers. Buffalo twice and the Chargers to close out the season. We could definitely, after that if we beat Jacksonville, we're at home versus the Jets. We could definitely go 5-0 against Tennessee, Chicago, Rams, maybe Miami, depending on how Tua goes, and then the Colts. And you can't tell me otherwise. I think we can
go 5-0, but you're also a 1-5 team, so maybe don't get too ahead of yourself. But the point that I wanted to make
let's say we beat Jacksonville, we're 2-5.
I think you got a good chance there. So that's fair.
We go 2-6, and we win 5 in a row. That puts us at 7-6. We beat Arizona, maybe. That's 8-6. We got to take 1 of 1 from Buffalo. That's if that happens, we have to take 1 of 2 from Buffalo, and that's going to be the most difficult thing in my opinion.
Yeah, maybe getting a little bit ahead of yourself, but there is at least a reason for hope because you saw Drake Maye maybe could be that guy for you, be that franchise guy. It's a good start. The point I wanted to make earlier is with the O-line. This is just a classic example of a team going and getting the rookie quarterback because, yes, y'all need a quarterback, but doing a terrible job building around them. Get the man some help. Even if you're not going to get him any receiving help, you just get trust what he has there. At least get some O-line help somewhere because you don't want to put rookie quarterbacks in bad situations. As you see it with all these guys who, Sam Darnold is the greatest example of this right now, who he looked like he was a terrible quarterback. Now he's in a good situation, and look what he's able to do. Put a good situation around your young quarterbacks, and it'll do good things. So hopefully the Patriots are able to do that moving forward.
I don't doubt that. And my thing is if we go out, we hit a winning streak, and we do better than anyone thought we were, that's a win. We'll still find a good tackle in the draft. If we don't do good and we continue to lose games, Will Campbell, I'm coming for your ass. All right? That's where I'm at right now.
That's fair. But
and it hurts to say because having Travis Hunter would be amazing, especially if he wants to play both sides of the ball. I don't know if they'll let him do that in the NFL, but if he does, it'd be amazing. But it just doesn't help us out right now. I think we do need O-line help unless we sign someone in free agency and then go draft Travis Hunter. Because, Travis Hunter, if we sign a lineman in free agency and then go get Travis Hunter, that's a receiver and a corner right there that we can – that's just locked down. You know what I'm saying? And I would need to see what we do free agency wise before I say go get Travis Hunter because if we just don't do anything and save our money again, I'll be pissed off for one because we have so much money we can spend. But two, we need offensive line help before we need anything, and that includes receivers. Because even though our receivers aren't elite, they're serviceable. I mean, Tom Brady didn't have top 10 guys his entire career other than Randy Moss, really. So
It's fair. I mean, Drew Brees. Drew Brees had his first Pro Bowl receiver in 2017, and look what he was able to do.
let me just say something. Here I am, one game into the Drake May career, and I'm comparing him to Tom Brady. So there's a problem, but it is what it is. He looked good. He exceeded my expectations for game one, especially against Houston's D-line. And even though it's a loss, our defense kind of shit the bed. But even though it's a loss, there's nothing I can be really mad about other than the defense, to be honest with you.
That's fair. And, I mean, it'll be very interesting to see how he looks going forward. But, I mean, Calvin, did you have any thoughts on that?
No, not really. Not really. I'll let Preston get his shine.
Yeah, shout
we
out
ain't hear
special
from him.
guest Preston.
Yeah, we ain't hear from him in a while. Yeah, I won't let him talk. Yeah, get his shine on. I've been here. Shit, I've been talking for probably combined 15 hours. So, yeah, let me get his
Question.
shine. Say something about his boy
Question.
Drake May.
Live stream at 8:30 a.m. next Sunday, guys. Watch the Patriots Jacksonville game in London. Come on.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people.
Real shit though. Should I pick up Drake May in fantasy? I drafted Drake May on my last pick in fantasy, but I dropped him because he wasn't doing shit.
Who's your quarterback now?
I have Kyler Murray. These are most of my teams. I have Kyler Murray and Baker. One of them I have Kyler Murray and Justin Fields, and the other one I have Sam Darnold and Jordan Love. Nope, it's Sam Darnold. Yeah, one's Jordan Love and Sam Darnold. The other one's Sam Darnold and Jane Daniels. But I just traded Justin Fields, so I think I'm gonna pick up Drake May in that one.
Yeah, if you only have one quarterback and you have someone free to drop, I would not be opposed to picking him up at all because he either looks good for you or if he has another good game, he's someone who could have a little bit of hype getting around him. Maybe go sell high on him. Like either way.
Hey, man, I just got Drake London for basically trading away Roma Dunze, Tank Dell, and Justin Fields. So I'm sitting all right. So we cooling.
If only they could play the Bucks every week, then you'd really be chilling. But
man.
Hey Dave, I got a request. Can you fix the waivers because I'm gonna go back to 12th again, and that's kind of pisses me off.
Maybe just like start losing, and you can have better waiver priority.
I'm undefeated, man. Why would I start losing?
You got to tank for the waivers.
Tanking for waivers is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what my team's doing at this point.
Well, your team is sponsored by Oshner. Maybe you should change your team name to Oshner Medical Facility.
I honestly should, because so my team week one and week two, we're feeling good. Scored 140 points
you look like
back
the Saints,
to back
didn't
weeks.
You? Yeah, 2 weeks of scoring 40 plus. Yeah, you look good. Huh?
We're looking good. I've got a starting lineup of Jalen Hurts. I had originally Christian McCaffrey, but I traded him and Brian Thomas for James Cook and Roma Dunze after that injury because I needed somebody. Because week one, our starting lineup was Jalen Hurts, Jordan Mason filling in for McCaffrey, Isaiah Pacheco, Nico Collins, Rashee Rice, Brian Thomas Jr., Jake Ferguson, and Keon Coleman, who he is all right. I had better options on the bench that I could replace him with. He is my flex. So we're feeling pretty good about that. And then, we're feeling pretty good once we make that trade, go get James Cook. And I'm saying, all right, Isaiah Pacheco, at least he'll be back at some point. I got James Cook, Jordan Mason to fill things in right now. My receivers, they look stacked with Nico Collins and Rashee Rice as my 1 and 2. And then it just starts to fall apart. And see, Rashee Rice gets taken out by his quarterback. And then all of a sudden, I wake up one day and I see the first thing I see on my phone, sleeper notification, Nico Collins' status changed to IR. That was a great way to wake up that day. And now this week, I have James Cook getting hurt. So since I have no other options, I start Braylon Allen, who puts up a wonderful 0.8 points, combined with Tyler Bass putting up 3 points, when all I needed was 10 points between the two of them to win. So, fantasy football is fun. We really like injuries. But, and I also had Dontavian Wick starting this week because I was just desperate because of injuries and stuff. And he gets hurt, so There we go.
You got gaslit. You got gaslit into that one. I know you did.
I mean, honestly, Dontavian Wicks was a guy that I thought could be pretty decent. Like, he's not going to do anything special, but because I paid attention to him a bit last year, picked him up in the Dynasty League, he has some decent rapport with Jordan Love. And I mean, if you look at like the games that he played before he got hurt, he was getting targets. Like one though, especially with Romeo Dobbs, Christian Watson being out, he got 13 targets and 7 targets last week, although he only caught 2 of them. And this week, he had 3 targets early on in the game. Thing is, he just gets hurt. But shout out this week that I had in one league I had Tucker Craft starting, in another I have Dontavian Wicks, and that's the week that every other Packers pass catcher goes off.
That team,
Mhm.
I can't trust any of the receivers on that team outside Jaden Reed. Even him. I don't know. Um,
Dude, I'm
I'm not
so
gonna give him too much credit because I still need to be on my Jordan Love does not deserve the money train. I
that's
have to
fair.
be on it.
But anyways,
I got to stand
circling
on
back to
business.
this Texans game, because I do want to give a few quick thoughts about the Texans. I saw a very interesting stat about this Texans offense this week. So they put up 41 points, and you think that's a pretty good week, isn't it? Well, their offensive success rate, despite putting up 40 points, was worse than the Titans, the Broncos, and the Eagles. And those are not offenses that you want to be performing worse than. And when you look at their season as a whole, it really hasn't been as good as you'd think that they would be. I mean, Nico Collins being out now, that's definitely hurting them, but they put up 29 against the Colts, then 19 against the Bears, 7 against the Vikings, 24 against the Jaguars, 23 against the Bills, where they actually looked a little bit better until that late interception. And then this week when they put up 41, it was kind of Fugazi 41 because they had a lot of short fields due to turnovers and just a lot of stuff going on in that game with 2 fumbles lost and 2 interceptions thrown. They really need to figure it out, and it really comes back a lot to their offensive line, who's been struggling as a whole, and their run game. I know Joe Mixon had 102 yards, but a lot of it was buoyed by he had a few big plays, that long of 59. Dameon Pierce had that 54-yard run somehow. Dameon Pierce just out of nowhere deciding to be a player again, but it's just outside of those few plays, which I mean, you give them credit for that they got them, but their overall efficiency, they just have a lot of run plays where they gain absolutely nothing, and they're a team that ends up in a ton of third and longs because of that, and just ends up behind the sticks. So offensive line's got to figure it out a bit. Texans are a team. They're 5-1, so it's like we keep saying, go win these games ugly and just sort it out as the season goes. As long as you get the wins early, that's all that you need. But definitely have a little bit to figure out before you want to call them a true contender. But at least they've given themselves their cushion, especially in a terrible division.
Hey man, stealing wins. I think right now it's probably too late to say. Maybe not. You can still. I think you can still steal wins until like mm, week 7, week 8, maybe week 7.
Yeah. I mean, it's not
But
even like this wasn't a stolen win at all. They're the better team by
no,
far. They beat up on a bad Patriots team, but the bigger takeaway is just their offensive performance just really isn't there yet. But it's something that can come together, especially they've got a lot of new pieces in. They've got Stephon Diggs in, and now they've got other receivers having to fill in for Nico Collins, all with a quarterback in his second year. So no need to panic at all for this team, but definitely something that if they want to be a true contender, they got to get going. But sticking in the AFC, I mean, this had to be probably the best matchup of the week, which is a shocking thing if you were to say this before the season started. Ravens winning by a touchdown against the Commanders.
oh man, battle of the dual threat quarterbacks. Um,
Insert the Spider-Man meme.
insert the Spider-Man meme. Jaden Daniels is goddamn good, man, and
He he did.
he looks great. And you know what? I seen the stat of he's only throwing to the right side of the field, but man, I don't care. I don't care. You're completing passes. Fuck, keep throwing it to the right. I don't care if you're Jalen Brown of the NFL. I don't care. Keep on throwing right. You keep completing passes. It's winning me games. And I mean, the Commanders. Look, I already told you week one. Like, hey, the Ravens are gonna figure the fuck out. Once they figure out, let's just run this goddamn ball and stop trying to force feed Zay Flowers for some reason. They're gonna be all right, and that's what they're doing, and it's resulting in wins. Um, and am I surprised that by this result? No, not really. I'm more surprised by yes how close it was, but like the Commanders are the best team in the NFC East. Ain't that crazy?
That is crazy. I mean, not just the best team in the NFC East, and hopefully my mic sounds okay because that crash was just the mic falling. But yeah, they're not just the best team in the NFC East. I mean, they're not the best team in the NFC, but they are one of the probably top four teams in. I mean, I guess if you're the best team in their division, you should be top four. But I mean, besides the NFC North being just absolutely stacked. But anyway, they're one of the surprisingly top teams, and I think they're a team that might fall back to earth a little bit because you'll see games like this where credit to them. They play really well. They fought really hard. Their defense just really isn't there if they want to be a contending team throughout the season. But the thing that really has impressed me so far is what Jaden has been able to do as a passer. Because, I mean, if you followed him at all, you knew he's a great passer. But at LSU, what he was doing a lot of was he was throwing a lot of these slot fades. He was throwing a lot of routes outside the numbers because the way that teams would defend him is they would have a spy or someone at least having a little short zone in the middle of the field, and it would be a lot of middle closed defenses because obviously you see what he can do as a runner, and imagine that against college defenses where they just don't have the athletes on the field to be able to keep up with a guy like that. You've got to run these middle closed defenses or else he's just going to run all over you. So as a result, he didn't have to throw over the middle of the field a lot. Well, this week especially, he made a lot of really good throws over the middle of the field where he would go challenge tight windows and show, hey, I can put some zip on the ball. I can go fit it into this tight window and get it to the receiver. A great example of that was that throw to Ertz that led to a big first down conversion on a drive that ended up being a touchdown drive for them and really keeping them in the game. So that's just the development that you're really seeing from Jaden right now is, yes, he wasn't asked to do that in college because all he had to do was just throw slot fades to Malik and Brian Thomas and then just run the ball whenever he's given the chance. But in the NFL, when you see a team like the Ravens who focus on taking away his running, because Jaden only had 15 yards running the ball. So what did he do? He said, hey, I'm going to just go be a good passer. He had 22 yards running the ball, actually got a little bit more, but either way, he finished as a strong passer, and he's just really showing good development every week. And that's what you want to see in a rookie quarterback. You want him to be able to do all the things that you want him to do a little bit better every week. And this is his probably biggest test so far against a good defense. I would say he gets a pretty good grade.
And, you know, the concerns with Jane Daniels, right? It's actually funny because I came across this guy's Instagram. He like does like reels and stuff for the NFL and stuff like that. It's just like the little games like um what is your top three favorite players say about you, like things like that. And one of them was this was when Jane Daniels was drafted to the Commanders, and he was like, I don't know what the fuck y'all are doing drafting Jane Daniels. He ain't nobody. He's not gonna be anything. He's just a skinny, scrawny guy who was just a merchant of the LSU offense. He gonna go and get hurt. And like the guy was just shitting on him. He was like, "This is a terrible pick. He's gonna be inaccurate. He's not gonna be what y'all think he is. He's a fraud." Da, da, da. And he was dead ass serious about it. And obviously that was posted, like I said, when he was drafted. But looking at it now, I'm like, man, that aged like goddamn milk. Like that shit is all lumpy as hell. This shit damn near cheese now, man. Like that is a terrible take now. And when they take him away as a runner, he is passing the eye test and the statistic test of being a good passer. And If you take away his passing, he's a good runner. And I think Jaden Daniels is what people thought Anthony Richardson could be. And that's just crazy to say because like Anthony Richardson just keeps getting hurt. Anthony Richardson has, right, an ideal body, right? He's like 6'5", 230 something pounds, and he's an absolute unicorn elite athlete. But that body type keeps getting hurt while the so-called scrawny kid, the like what 205-pound Jaden Daniels is running all over the place and he's not getting hurt, knock on wood. And he's playing on the fucking Commanders field. You know what I mean? So, and we all know what the Commanders field has done to quarterbacks in their legs. Shout out Joe Theismann and Alex Smith. But like it's amazing how he's just progressed from his time at Arizona State and how he's always just I ain't gonna stay on this tip too long, pause. Because that's not what this is about. This is not the glazed Jaden Daniels segment. This is just me giving his props because he's doing good.
Yeah, I was going to say, thankfully Preston's not here, because if Preston was still here, it would be the glazed Jaden Daniels segment.
So I mean, he was glazing Drake May, so I'm surprised he would glaze somebody else. The glaze the rookie segment, I guess.
Yeah, Preston is a Patriots and LSU fan, so you can see where the glazing would be coming from there.
That's a hell of a combo, isn't it?
Oh well, yeah, no. You know what? Now. He's not here to defend himself, but I'm going to get into it anyway. Let's talk about the combo of teams that Preston's a fan of. So, you already heard he's an LSU and Patriots fan. But how about his other teams?
He's a Yankees fan?
He's a Yankees fan.
I knew it. How did I know that?
And then in the NBA, he is a current Grizzlies fan. Originally, he was a 76ers fan, he claims, because of Ben Simmons being there. Then he somehow became a Grizzlies fan out of nowhere when they got good. And then
I don't think they have an LSU player on that team.
No, he just was a fan of them because they got good, I guess. And then he doesn't really follow soccer that much, but conveniently the year that Liverpool won the Premier League, he was a Liverpool fan.
Oh, okay. So Preston's a bit of a bandwagon. That's what he is. He's just a bit of a bandwagon. Preston don't get his fandom out the mud like a lot of people. So Preston's getting an asterisk put next to his name from now on. It can get worse though. I respect the Grizzlies thing. You know what? Fine. We'll be a Grizzlies fan. I know a lot of Louisiana guys that's Grizzlies fans. Fine.
Well, he's not a Louisiana guy, and that's what I was going to say is the one kind of fair point he has is living in Mississippi, you don't have any sports teams there, so you do kind of just cling to whatever, but I don't know. It's a pretty interesting spread.
That makes Patriots it even more and Yankees especially. He's an LSU fan. He's from Mississippi. He's an LSU fan. That makes it even more odd. You're supposed to be an Ole Miss fan or something.
No, he was born in Louisiana but lived in Mississippi most of his life.
Well, that's what
we're just over here out in Preston, but
yeah. See, Preston's what you call a mutt in the sports world, and he's a little bit of a bandwagon. So either way, he's gonna ask you. But it could be worse. He could be a Lakers fan. He could be a Cowboys fan. He could be a Yankees fan.
He is a
Yankees fan. On top of that, well, he's not a Cowboys and Lakers fan. So
his dad is actually a Cowboys fan, by the way.
Right. So this is not looking good for Preston and the family tree. So
it's a maybe whole family of plastics.
So maybe next time I'm gonna give Preston 5 minutes max to talk, and then after I'm taking the mic.
Well, that's probably how long he'll be here anyway, with how reliable he's been.
Exactly. So he's perfectly fine. It was a little 5 minutes, but shout out Jaden Daniels, man. Shout out
the Preston call-out session that we just had. It's just this is all in fun, just for him hopping off the stream.
I don't know. Maybe go to his Facebook or something and find some old picture and put that in the video and have that be part of the ending. I don't know.
But I'm not gonna get into this right now, but we have a story with something similar like that that happened with someone that we know.
Oh boy.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. Yeah, we won't get into it right now. But,
that is for a future episode in the off season.
Yeah, that's some great off season content. Y'all gonna love that one. He ain't gonna love it, but we'll love it. But shout out to Lamar Jackson. He's playing real consistent right now. And I'm not a Lamar Jackson hater. I just like trolling people about it, calling him a running back. I think it's funny, but I know what he is, and he should have been a Saint, for being honest. So should have Patrick Mahomes, but you know what? The Saints live on woulda, coulda, shouldas, and that's just what we are. Drinking game, guys. Y'all gonna get drunk by 11:30. Trust. And um, I say 11:30, like they're like that's the time people's gonna watch this all the time. Just at 11 o'clock. All right, whatever. But um, I can't say he's playing. I mean, he is playing like MVP right now, but I mean, I don't know. He's playing like a really, 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 really good game manager right now. He ain't losing your games, but the thing is, he's winning your games. He ain't losing them, but he is
Yeah.
helping you win.
Well, this
And
game especially, this showed off exactly what their offense needs to be. And I know they're playing a bad defense, but they get the run game going. They're able to do that, and they get into favorable down and distances. So what do they do when they're in those favorable positions? They just let it rip on play action shots. I mean, Lamar was just taking tons of these deep play action shots this game, and they were all connecting. And part of it, again, is the Commanders, they do not have a good secondary at all, and they don't really have a good pass rush. But you're able to get into these positions even against better teams where you're able to take these shot plays because you have Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry who will get you yards on first down, get you yards on second down, and have that threat always that you got to worry about them. And then you look, Zay Flowers, 14.7 yards per reception this game. Rashad Bateman, 17.8. 22 yards per reception for Mark Andrews, 13.5 for Isaiah Likely, and then Nelson Aguilar had a 25-yard reception. You're able to take all these shots because of this, and then you get to the fourth quarter where you have, after all of this onslaught, you have Derrick Henry there to wear you down, and you need to ice the game. Try stopping him when all he needs to do is get 10 yards to win the game.
and there's also something else too that's overlooked. Mark Andrews scored a goddamn touchdown, everybody. Mark Andrews got a damn touchdown. I couldn't believe it. Mark Andrews is now in waivers for every damn league that I'm in now. And this is the first time that he's been in waivers for all the leagues, and he fucking scores a touchdown. I said, you cannot make this shit up.
That's how
I
it
knew this shit
goes.
was gonna happen.
Hey,
I
I
knew it
did
was gonna happen.
say, don't write him off yet because he had that car accident in the offseason and he got hurt in that. He probably was still a bit banged up heading into the season. As he gets healthy now, they're gonna definitely involve him more. And this is also just an offense that's kind of figuring things out on the fly. You see every week, like this week, Zay Flowers pops off. It's like last week you'll have someone else pop off. Every week Derrick Henry's popping off except for week 1, but you just see as the season progresses, they're really figuring out what they're able to do with the personnel they have, and it's a really fun team to watch.
I like what they're doing over there, man. I agree. I like what they're doing over there in Baltimore. Uh, glad they're in the AFC. Cause goddamn, running teams or running backs right now scare the living shit out of me right now for my Saints. I thought I'd never say that. I remember there's a point in time when the Saints have the record for the most games not allowing an 100-yard rusher, and then now it's like, you know what? Every game everyone scores 100 yards on us. Why not? Fuck it. You can have 100 yards rushing. Sure. Uh,
You know,
shout out to the Ravens.
shout
Shout
out
out
to
to
the
the Ravens. Shout
Ravens
out to
and
the
shout
Commanders.
out to that transition because it's
Great
time.
transition.
I mean, we have to do it. Let's talk about the
Time to get
Saints.
y'all drunk as fuck, y'all. Drinking game. Calvin talk about Saints. Y'all getting drunk right here. Y'all getting fucked up. Y'all not coming to work tomorrow.
I
Right
mean,
here.
if you're a Saints fan, you're probably still drunk after having to watch that game. Man, I'm going to let you. I have some things I want to say, so I'm going to let you talk first. I want to hear
All
your
right.
thoughts.
So we gave up 50 points. We got 50 ball scored on us by a division rival in the Superdome. Um, I believe I saw a team quit, and I don't think the Bucks were as aggressive in the trenches as like the Eagles were, but the Saints were still fighting. They were still fighting hard, at least. They were banged up in that Eagles game too. They were fighting hard. They just came up short. This and last week was like the floodgates opening. And this week was the flood waters rushing in. I have not seen this bad of a Saints defensive performance probably since Steve Spagnuolo was here. This looked awful. And we are now dead last in passing defense. Dead last. The elite defense that we once knew from 2017 to, well, last year, I guess, is now gone. Cam Jordan just can't do shit anymore. It is very sad. And we extended his ass, and he can't do shit. Tyrann Mathieu, he's still good, but the cracks are showing. Demario Davis, he got hurt for the first time in his career last week, and it looked like he was running in goddamn mud this week. Pete Werner didn't play. Willie Gay looks fine. Debo with his weekly defensive pass interference, and it also looks like he got his weekly pick. Um, Alontae Taylor is probably him and Marshawn are probably the two best players on this defense right now, consistently. Alontae's tackling not great a lot of times though, so I maybe I'll take that back. I'll just probably say Marshawn. But before I get into what I know people want me to talk about, I gotta say this because this is a team that hired a defensive minded head coach. And the defensive minded head coach is supposed to bring an elite defense. And a lot of people who vote to keep Dennis Allen because they're afraid of losing the elite defense that we supposedly have. I mean, once again, I just told y'all we are dead last now in the NFL. We are ranked 32 out of 32 in fucking pass defense. And we don't produce sacks. Todd Grantham, I'm very disappointed in him right now. I think the D line should be better than what it was last year. Now, last year it wasn't that productive, but this year it seems like it's even less productive, and we have better talent. And Ryan Nielsen, I guess Ryan Nielsen was a fucking D line guru. I mean, I know he is. I've actually gotten coached by Ryan Nielsen a couple times, so I know what he's about. That's Calvin fun fact of the day for y'all. Um, so I know what he's about. And but that seems like to be probably the biggest loss on the Saints defense for the Saints, losing Ryan Nielsen because the D line has sucked ass since. Um, and we're just starting to see the cracks with the older guys, minus Marshawn. Marshawn's having a fucking All Pro season. He's having a Darrell Revis year, an '09 Revis year, but no one's gonna talk about it because the Saints defense fucking blows, and that sucks because he deserves All Pro nod right now. And he's probably the best cornerback in the league right now because he's only had like 10 targets all year, and it's been like 5, 6 games. It's been 6 games, and he's had less than 15 targets at him. So if that ain't All Pro, I don't know what is. Um, but Dennis Allen, if the defense is ass, what does he bring to this team?
That is
We are
that is
still having
exactly what I wanted to say. Dennis Allen was kept around for his defense. If the defense isn't playing well, what is the point of Dennis Allen? Absolutely nothing.
And it's scary because I'm gonna read y'all some quotes from Mickey Loomis in his press conference today. Because I think everybody's kind of like also quick. I know we talked about it earlier, but I'm just quickly do it because I see this popped up. It's been 1,029 days since Aaron Rodgers' last 300-yard game. It's only been 1,389 days since Drew Brees' last 300-yard game. So Drew Brees is the GOAT. To let y'all know that right now. But
And
like
he
I
still
said,
probably couldn't
Saints,
carry Dennis Allen.
yeah, I don't think he can carry this. Well, he might. He's the GOAT. He can carry anybody. Um, Ranked dead last, guys, in defense. 395.8 yards a game. Dead last. Dead goddamn last. So then that goes on to, all right, they bring that up to Mickey Loomis. Mickey Loomis says, everything you say is accurate. Results matter. They do. But I think one of the things that good organizations do is may look beyond the results. What's the reasons for the result? How do you fix the reasons that keep you from winning? It's not always about the head coach. Sometimes it is. It's about a lot of different variables. A lot of things are involved in winning. So we'll look at that when the time comes, but the time is not right now. We have a lot of games left. I have an extreme problem with that. Someone needs to hit Mickey upside his fucking head because he has completely lost the plot. And I know he's probably playing basically, political games right now. He doesn't want to, just go out and just, flame the coach because it's family environment, whatever the fuck
Yeah,
bullshit the
no,
Saints want to
Mickey. I
tell this
don't,
fucking man.
honestly, I don't think he cares. And not saying this in a way. Obviously, he wants to win, but he's been here for over 20 years. He has complete and utter job security, no matter what happens. Just like pretty much everyone in this organization. Everything in this organization is, like you said, this family style. It's Sean Payton leaves. We're going to promote from within. We're going to bring in guys from within to promote for our coordinators. We're going to keep Pete Carmichael. We're going to promote co-defensive coordinators from within. Our entire staff everywhere, top to bottom, is going to be everyone who's been there forever. There's nothing fresh, no new ideas, nothing new at all. It took an absolute disaster class of a season from the offense last year for Pete Carmichael finally to get let go, and he wasn't let go until the end of the season because they don't even want to try with an interim OC or anything.
Didn't fire him either. They just say, "Oh, we're parting ways."
Yeah, we're parting ways. And all of that, it took all that to finally get rid of one component. Everyone's been around there forever. Everything's been the exact same forever. And guess what? The league isn't the same anymore. We don't have Drew Brees, and the game's not even played the same way as then. You have to make changes instead of going and drafting these same profile players every single draft. It's just, we're either going to take some offensive linemen from somewhere, and this is actually, I'll say we did depart from a little bit because the lineman we took at least went to a significant school and didn't go to some Division III college, so good on that pick. But it's either going to be some offensive linemen like that, or it's going to be getting some
a very
defensive
high score D lineman.
Some
from a
defensive end or some D lineman who fits the exact same model every single time because we only draft the exact same player at defensive lineman, guys who we think can be the next Cam Jordan, because that is apparently the only model that exists. We do not know what a speed rusher is at all. And we'll go give up whatever capital it takes to get that guy, whether it's trading 2 firsts to get Marcus Davenport, whether it's taking Peyton Turner well ahead of where his draft projection would be. It's just doing whatever we want to go get that model, and it never works. But let me give you a fun stat while we're going off on the Saints, because we could say what we want about the organization, the staff, the roster construction, everything. That's all been beaten down because everyone knows that. But here's a fun fact from this game. So Baker Mayfield, he threw for 325 yards, right? You want to know what his stats were on passes 10 yards or more in the air?
I believe 1 for 12.
1 for 8 on passes 10 yards or more in the air. He threw for 325 yards, and only one of those completions traveled 10 or more yards in the air. How is that even possible? There's no way that anything like that should ever happen. I mean, that is just absurd. His average completion traveled for 2.9 yards, and he's thrown for 325 yards. That is like some of the greatest yards after catch that you have ever seen. And it's because this defense just apparently does not know how to tackle anybody. We had 11 missed tackles on run plays alone, and you can tell how many missed tackles there were on pass plays because average pass traveled 2.9 yards in the air, but he goes and throws for 325 yards. If you look at the yards after catch stats, let's see if we can find that. We don't have this pulled up on here on ESPN, but I'll go pull that up for you while we're talking because Chris Godwin, I mean, he had that huge touchdown where he just catches it. Should have been a short little completion. Said nobody tackles him. All of a sudden, he's in the end zone. You have Sean Tucker. For some reason, we just made him look like he's an incredible player. And I mean, maybe he is, but we just refused to tackle him. Like every single play, it was just they'd go throw some short little pass and then take it for 10, 15 yards. It's just terrible defense from a defensive-minded head coach, from a defensive team. We're at least supposed to be, because, I mean, that's the whole point of why we have Dennis Allen. And look at the results that it gets you. But the other thing that is crazy is, we're a defensive minded team and we're great. Well, one of the big ways that this team is falling apart is, like you said, the defensive line play. But it goes further than just the coaching and just all that. We don't have the personnel for this league anymore. Whenever we play a pocket passer, like, look at all of the games where Dennis Allen's defense played Tom Brady. They would absolutely shut him down because there was no threat of him scrambling. So the defense was able to bring the pressure, usually just with the front four, and then go win it and not worry about the quarterback getting around them. Now, when we play any quarterback with any type of mobility, like Baker Mayfield showed off in this game, like Desmond Ridder, the fact that Desmond Ridder was able to absolutely cook this defense last year should have told you everything you needed to know.
Hey man,
But
Josh Dobbs was getting MVP nods because of the goddamn Saints defense last year.
anytime the Saints play a team that has a quarterback with any mobility, their defense falls apart because you have a very slow defensive line because your D tackles are pure run-stopping D tackles, and your edge rushers are big-bodied, run-stopping, power edge rushers, which is
Now,
great.
keep in mind, they do have fast for their size DNs. I mean, we get guys who are very high in RAS score. They run 4.5s and 4.6s at 280 pounds, wherever the fuck, 295. But the problem is acceleration.
The
They
problem
can't
is
get
that,
up.
and the fact that Cam Jordan, like, none of them apparently are better than Cam Jordan because he still starts. And I mean, credit to him, he still does work in the run game, but honestly, at this point in his career, he might need to be kicked to the interior because you need speed guys. Because it's great if you're a power rusher and can go power past them. But what happens when you're going against a guy that can just roll out and roll past you? If you can't catch him and you can't contain him, you're doing nothing on defense. And that is exactly what happens with this Saints team. But then, I mean, this game, even if you do something and contain the quarterback, he throws it 2 yards in the air and it gets taken for 20.
That's and it's pretty damning, right? Because like we both said already, this is a defensive team. It's supposed to be a defensive minded team, a defensive minded head coach, and this is your results. And it's like I said earlier, what in the hell is Dennis Allen good for? If this is what we're gonna get, is if the 32nd ranked defense, the last ranked, the worst defense in the NFL is what we're gonna get, and we can't use the injuries as an excuse because we're gonna talk about injuries. That's a lot on the offensive side of the ball. So I can understand Kubiak is his first year in the system, right? Well, the offense's first year in that system. We got some, young players on offense, and we got hella injuries on offense. I can understand giving Kubiak a pass for injuries. I do not fucking excuse Dennis Allen getting because Dennis Allen has been a fucking defensive coordinator here since what 2017, 16,
Yeah, he's in
and
what?
he's been the
He's in
head
year
coach for
8 with
3
the
years now.
organization.
Yeah, he's in year 8. I do not give passes to a defensive coordinator in year 8 with a team. And let's keep in mind, a lot of the cornerstone pieces have been here for a long time. Cam Jordan's been here since 2011 when he got drafted. Marshawn Lattimore since 2017. Tyrann Matthews been here since what 2021. Like Alontae Taylor's on year 3. Yeah, those guys are young, whatever. But Paul Debo, same thing. So like the defense is kind of the same as it's been for last couple of years. And yeah, the D tackle room is taking a hit since Anyamata left, Tyler Davis and those
And I
guys.
will say, we
But
did have both our starting safeties out, so that definitely does impact it. I mean, if you got the starters in there, I think some more of those tackles get made because, Tyrann Matthews not going to let that many guys run past him. And I don't know, but it's
but
just a
I'm not.
disappointing
That's
performance.
fine and dandy to say, but
Exactly.
the stat that you read is damning. I mean, 1 for 8 on passes that's over 10 yards, and you throw for 309 yards. That's not supposed to. And he throws for 3 picks. What team do you know that gets 3 interceptions and they run back a punt for a touchdown and lose the game by like 30? That doesn't happen. And we keep seeing this with Dennis Allen coach teams. It's always shit like this where it's, oh, yeah, on paper you should have won the game and we didn't. Or, there's just the thing that bothers me, especially with things that Mickey Loomis said. Also, I'm gonna say this quote that Mickey Loomis said too, because I forgot to mention it. He said that the fundamental issues right now are part of the consequence of a shorter/smaller offseason. And he said the missed tackles are a lot more common league wide because of the lack of padded practices. and he thinks that the Saints have been a good tackling team in the past. I mean, what a fucking slap to the face to the fans. We're sitting here looking at this bullshit. We see the stats. He sees the stats that we look at, the same access to the stats that we have, and the fucking thing that he sits here and looks at, chews his gum, and tells in a fucking press conference is, well, we were good tackling in the past. Well, who gives a fuck, Mickey? That's the fucking past. It's the past for a reason. I don't give a fuck if we're a good tackling team in the past. We're now. So what the fuck can we do to fix it? And then you're gonna give me some bullshit like, oh well, the reason for this is fundamental issues because we just didn't have a long enough offseason. Oh, because we just don't have enough pad practice. Well, fuck, Mickey. Every fucking team in the league is dealing with that, but not every team in the league is the 32nd out of 32nd ranked fucking defense, Mickey. So what is your excuse? Because the number one ranked defense had the same short offseason. They had the same low amount of padded practices. What? That's not a good excuse because everyone in the league experiences that. You can't say, oh, lack of tackles because of that. Because not every team is this terrible at tackling. Just us. We're last in defense for a fucking reason. And you're just going to completely ignore everything else that we've mentioned, all these stats, because once again, you want to fucking protect Dennis Allen for whatever fucking reason. And the thing that upsets me is that Mickey Loomis has access to all this, and he keeps saying the most bullshit excuses. He brings shit out of his ass like, oh, well, Chuck Noll and Tom Landry, Bill Belichick, they had shitty seasons too. Even though the context for that is completely different than the context for Dennis Allen. And on top of that, the problem isn't the fact that we're losing games, it's we keep losing games the same fucking ways. And it's been like that since Dennis Allen became head coach. And how do you not look at that and say, yes, this is 100% coach problem? For him to go and say, oh, it's not always about the coaching. Well, what the fuck is it about, Mickey? Because you went and extended players like Cam Jordan, who quite frankly don't need to be playing as much as they are, and they don't sure as hell don't need to be making as much money as they are. You extend guys like that while letting other guys like Trey Henderson walk. You do this shit consistently, and then you want to sit here and say, it ain't all on the head coach. Yeah, it's just a little bit about the head coach. I mean, we have seen time and time again the Texans made a complete fucking 180 after they they got a new coach, new coaching staff, added some pieces. And now look at them. Same with the Lions. That whole culture changed with Dan Campbell. We've seen time and time
Dan
again.
Campbell, who was in the Saints organization.
In the fucking building. In the building. Aaron Glenn, same thing. That defense over there with Aaron Glenn's defense corner has improved every single year, rankings-wise. He was also in the fucking building. So you have guys in the building, but you will not move aside to let these guys come and rise into these top spots because you're so cling on to the past. It's weird, and we keep losing games the same way, and that's my problem. Because you can't sit here and try to gaslight me and say, "Oh, it's not always about the head coach. There's just a whole bunch of different factors." Well, no, Mickey. What factors are you going to tell me outside of injuries that do not ultimately lead you to head coach? That is bullshit. Coaches have been fired for far less than what we're
Coaches that have
getting
been
now,
there for far less time, too.
and gotten fired. So the fact that Dennis Allen, who by the way does not deserve to have a leash as long as he fucking does anyway, it's not like he was a perennial playoff coach with the Raiders. He got fired from the Raiders for being ass. He was like 8-28 there. So there is no reason for you to say, "Oh, well, yeah, I believe in this guy." None. And you're giving him the longest leash in the goddamn league. I don't know whose leash is longer. Zach Taylor's, Nick Sirianni's, or his. Probably Dennis Allen's.
You know a fun
So,
stat I saw? If Dennis Allen were to win his next 20 games in a row, he would still be below 500.
and this is the guy that we got. This is the guy that he believes can fucking be the next Hall of Fame coach. Mickey's on perks. Mickey's on drugs, just like Sean Payton ass was. And I think it's quite evident. His brain is fucking fried. He's on fent. That's what he is. He's on fent. I don't believe that he's a sane thinking man. Maybe he has early onset dementia or something. There's something going on mentally with him. He does not have all his facilities. He's not there all the way. But to
I
finish my
won't
thought,
take it that far on him. I just think with him is he's a GM that has been there forever and he's complacent because he's like, well, whatever. I mean, I'll be here forever. I mean, yeah, it'd be cool if we
He
win,
has
but
no
we'll just
fire under his
yeah.
ass. And
He's
Gail Benson is the most whatever fucking owner in the league. So
and I mean, look, props to her for keeping the Pelicans around and all that, but I mean, I mean, it's not a necessarily bad thing that she's so laid back about that because you obviously have the opposite end of the spectrum where you have your Jerry Joneses and your David Teppers, but you want to have a laid back owner who has a good foundation in place. The problem is when the foundation in place is bad and your owner's that laid back, that so laid back that she won't change it no matter what, because all these people have been there longer than she has. It's just you're gonna get a complacent organization, and that is exactly what you're seeing here.
well, she's getting gaslit too because all these guys like Mickey, these Dennis Lauscha, they are sitting there telling her, "Well, this is the way that we've done it. This is how it's always been. This is the way we do things right here." And she's being gaslit. She has no other choice than to believe that. Because yes, for 20 years, that is how shit has been done. And if you tell me or if you tell any other team, "Hey, you're going to hire a guy and keep him around for 20 years and he's only going to win you one Super Bowl," I don't think they'd want to keep that guy. They probably wouldn't even want to go into it with this guy. And yeah, I'm a little harsh on Mickey, and I do it for the jokes. I understand Mickey's complacent. He has no fire in his ass. He has no threat of firing. Why the fuck does he need to go out his way to do anything? He's only doing it for the love of the game right now. He has no other motivation other than I don't know, free sticks of gum in the cafeteria. I don't know, but we have a
Yeah,
head
the
coach.
cafeteria that sucks apparently, by the way,
Yeah,
according
the
to the team
cafeteria that's
report.
like ranked fucking F. We're in New Orleans, the fucking food capital of fucking America, and
They
it's
are
F.
at
I mean,
least
it's stupid.
redoing that cafeteria, but I mean that the fact that that ever got ranked F in New Orleans should tell you anything that you need to know about this team.
It's just it's absurd. And as far as before I get to the offense side of the ball, 'cause I've been ranting about the fucking defense, but before I get to the offense side of the ball, I mean Dennis Allen as a coach, all the things. It's like I said, we keep losing the same way, and that's why I'm so confused when Mickey says the shit that he does about, oh, it's not really about the head coach, there's more factors. Because whenever you lose because of dumb penalties, whenever you lose because you make stupid decisions late game, like, oh, we're gonna call man coverage here, or we're gonna go for it here instead of taking your points. I mean, there has been like the Eagles game. If you change like two decisions that Coach Dennis Allen made, you win the game. I'd like to argue. Uh, Same thing for the game for the Falcons game. I believe you could have won that game if you just change 2 decisions that he makes, and that's all it takes, and his mistakes are just amplified every damn game because in a close game also, the statistic of him in a close game, he has a terrible he's like a 25% winning coach in late game situations, or I think it's we're 0-5 whenever we're within 6 points either winning or losing, and there's, like, 5 minutes left in the 4th quarter, we're 0 fucking 5. So, the team can't finish, they've been consistent in not finishing, they've been consistent in shooting themselves in the foot. Because how many fucking times have this team given up points, not because they gave up points on defense, but because the offense throws a pick, because a fucking punt returner decides to do some dumb shit, because we fumble, whatever. Undisciplined fucking team. Just dumb, stupid decisions lead to points on the other end for the team, and the offense for the other team didn't have to do anything. And
I'm
then the penalties. The team's undisciplined there. How many times have we just had shitty fucking penalties? How many times have we had dumbass coaches? We just lose the same goddamn way. We always find a way to lose a game. And it's upsetting because that leads back to your coach every fucking time. At least your coach should take accountability for that, and he doesn't. So Mickey Loomis, he can suck my damn dick with all this shit he talking about. He can kiss my ass because he ain't finna gaslight me, and he shouldn't gaslight any of the fucking fan base either. They shouldn't fall for it. And Dennis Allen is just a bad coach. We are losing the same way. You can say, "Oh, we all the circumstances." No, fuck the circumstances. You lose the same way. That is indicative of a bad coach when you keep losing games the same fucking way. It's consistent. You're consistent in being consistently bad. Bad coach. Now, flip to the fucking offense. God damn it, can we please get fucking healthy? Oshner, they've got to go. I don't want to see fucking Oshner anywhere near this goddamn team ever again. Too bad Oshner has a monopoly on
I
Southeast
mean,
Louisiana.
they should have been gone after the Delvin Bro thing. I mean, that was absurd. You remember that?
And I do remember that.
Yeah.
I do remember that, and that was in his book, Unbroken. Shout out, good book, everybody.
Shout out.
And I recommend reading it. They should have been fired after the Michael Thomas shit too. Everybody thought Michael Thomas was crazy. I've always believed Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas listened to this somehow. I've always believed you, man. I knew what you're talking about. I knew that fucking medical staff is crazy. And shout out to the Pelicans. The Pelicans they've gone through like 2 completely different medical staffs since Zion has been there. And I appreciate that. Because they used to be that way where it's just hell injured. Maybe they still are to some extent, but it used to be a lot worse. It's like we can't get healthy. And then they fire the medical staff when Zion rolls around. It's the same shit's happening. So they fire them. Now we have a new staff again. And it seems like things are working out. Maybe Trey Murphy just can't get right now. I don't know. But Zion had his most healthy year last year under the new staff. And I'm looking at the Saints, right? You move training camp to Cali for whatever fucking reason. And this is just, it is a CVS receipt. That's how long the injury report is for us week by week. I mean, we have not been a fully healthy team since week fucking 1 or week 2. And when you lose your starting center, when you lose your starting left guard, you lose your starting tight end, fullback, whatever the hell you want to call Taysom Hill. You have now lost Chris Olave, your starting receiver. We are now losing Rashid Shaheed with a phantom-ass knee injury from out of fucking nowhere. I guess he fell over on the way home. I don't know. He maybe hit a pothole too hard and his knee hit the fucking steering wheel. And I don't know.
Yeah, it's like that. Remember that account that tweet out all the like fake NBA injury reports whenever a player would get hurt?
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of those type of injuries.
It's like
James Harden sat down too hard. Doubtful.
Sat down too hard. Fucking Ben Simmons turned his neck too fast. Like, it's absurd how many times a player will finish a game, not look like they have an injury, and then the next day on like Monday will look and it's like, oh yeah, by the way, they tore their fucking finger off. It's like, how? Like, what did you do from the end of the game to now? Because Peyton Turner, right? He got a sack in the Falcons game. He finished the game, and then the next day it was like, yeah, by the way, he's probably not going to play for a couple weeks because he got fucking hurt again. It's like, well, what the fuck did he do? He finished the game. What is going on? So the problem is guys are getting hurt way too often with ligament issues, soft tissue shit, and some of the shit you can't control, like Chris Olave. You can't control him keep getting concussions because they keep helmet to helmet targeting his ass. But what you can make him do is get the fuck out of that F7 helmet and get a new fucking helmet, get him in a Vices, some shit, get him an Axiom, whatever the fuck is the top rated helmet now, get him that and put a fucking Guardian cap on him. That is your job as a medical staff to advise him that way. This is his fucking 3rd concussion in 2 years. So get him right. And the fact they haven't already.
Well, it might be too late at this point, honestly. I mean,
it might be.
I don't want to say that, but I mean, it's just rough when you have that many concussions at this point in your career. I mean, I hope the best for him, and I hope that this is a minor one.
Further prevent it. They can help him up.
No.
Throw the guard. There is no reason why the next game or the rest of the season, Chris Olave can't have a guarding cap. No reason. And I don't give a fuck if he don't want to wear it. You as a medical staff say, no, your ass is wearing it. You have had 3 concussions in 2 years. You're wearing it. So you have that part.
I got something pulled up on the screen right now. So
is it the injury thing?
It's the injury thing.
Yep,
this is our offense that we had week 1. The guys who are scratched out are guys who are probably going to be out next week, or at least have been out missing some significant time. So it's a bit weird the way that they formatted this, but at the top you got Chris Olave. Obviously, we just talked about him. You know what happened. Shout out Fuaga for being able to stay healthy as a rookie. Good on him. Our entire interior line, though, not so lucky because all 3 of them out and have been out and will be out for a while. Trevor Penning, good on him staying healthy. I mean, I don't know how it would be possible to break him when you look at him, but the Saints would find a way. Foster Moreau, I mean, good on him staying healthy, even though he's our worst player on this list. Taysom
and the
Hill.
guy had cancer. The guy had cancer.
He
And
did.
came back. Shout, which is
Shout
crazy
out
because
to him.
we always
And
say
I'm
that.
not
We
even
said
hate.
that before.
I'm
We
not
said
even trying to
before how
hate
the
on him
Mets
too
have
much.
find fucking cancer, but they can't figure out a fucking. It's weird. It's so
Well,
weird.
you know why they're
So
able to
weird.
do that? Because we have a disease hospital instead of a actual sports medical team as our staff. So, of course, the hospital can find cancer because that's what they do all the time. They don't work with these injuries like, sure, they do some stuff like that, but go get the best of the best doctors that all they do every day is they do that instead of working at a hospital where they have a department dedicated to that. But I digress. Foster Morrow, it's so mixed with him. Like, awesome for him coming back from that cancer, but he has kind of sucked a lot for the Saints. He had a good game this past game. Hopefully, he can do more of that. But Taysom Hill, he's out, and the offense actually did some stuff without him now that Carr's not the quarterback. But you see just how important he is to the offense. Shaheed, he's now apparently going to be out for a bit, so I don't even know who we're throwing to. Derek Carr, obviously he's out. Alvin Kamara, he's not out, but you see all the injuries that he's had listed down there. Hips, he's had the hip injury, ribs injury, hand injury already. And Adam Prentice,
Fractured hand.
shout out
Fractured
to
hand.
him. He's stayed healthy. Shout out the Saints for actually having a fullback, keeping that alive. But
Well,
shows
we
that we're
are
stuck in the
still
past.
stuck in.
But
Yeah, we're
it
still
actually
stuck in
works for us.
goddamn 2009, man. We have not left it.
The Ravens use a fullback too, and they have some success. So shout out Adam Prentice. But when
They
you
have
look
a
at this,
mobile quarterback.
when you look at this list right here, you have 5, and really, I would only say 4 because Adam Prentice isn't really a necessarily full-time starter. He comes in for packages where we use a fullback. 4 of your guys that out of 11 that'll be on the field the whole game are actually healthy. And one of them's not even really healthy, but he's playing in Kamara. This is just absurd. And the fact that we still have the same medical team that we've had forever. The fact that after the Delvin Breaux incident where they said he had a bruised leg when it was broken, that we only fired, like, the 2 doctors that were directly responsible were fired. But we're like, oh yeah, we'll keep the same Oshner medical staff that
Hell, even the Michael Thomas
let this
situation.
happen. And then they do the Michael Thomas situation. The fact that we have them, the training staff. I don't know who's at fault. Oshner is clearly at fault with a lot of this because they have mishandled injuries. For an injury prevention, I don't know if it's coaching staff just having terrible practice plans where they either are way too physical or not physical enough, which is probably the issue based off of Mickey Loomis's comments.
I can tell you, being an athlete, how this all works. I can actually tell you if you want.
Yeah, go for
key
it.
into that. So the way this works is these teams, and I'm speaking, because I was at a D1 school for 5 years, and now I'm here at this D2. But it all works really the same way. So the team, yes, we have our athletic trainers, and we have a strength and conditioning staff who was also part of the nutrition staff when I was at La Tech. So the strength and conditioning staff will handle nutrition. That's a big part in keeping injuries fine.
It's a huge part, and it's especially nowadays. It's a very developing part.
Exactly. We are now learning new things every day about nutrition, how important it is. So that is a new part of the game. Don't listen to Ocho Cinco, who's going to say just eat fucking McDonald's every day and you'll be fine. But he kind of has a point though, because he hasn't gotten hurt. And he's eating McDonald's, but whatever. So the strength and conditioning staff would deal with that, and then they will also deal. The strength and conditioning staff is actually the ones who advise coaching staffs on the practice plan. So that doesn't mean that they are in charge of it. They just go to them and say, "Hey, look, it's the guys we're doing this type of workout. It has to work hand in hand with the workouts that they're getting.
This is what we recommend based off of the the all-encompassing plan that we have for these guys.
Yeah, so you should maybe work out for practice for an hour and a half. Maybe do this meet they do that, but then the training staff comes in. They have to put in their 2 cents on like heat. So if it's too hot or whatever, they say, all right, y'all have to dial this back or push practice back. So the coaching staff, they ultimately finalize the practice plan, but the advisors to the practice plan is the trainers, but more so the strength and conditioning staff. And then what the training staff is going to do So when you get injured, right, they'll check you out initially. But what happens is if the injury is a little more severe and outside, they will send you to I know Tech had a team doctor, so they'll send you him, and then he will send you to a specific place. So like out here, uh where I'm at now, it would be they'll send you to a hospital called Mosaic if you need to get certain X-rays done, or they'll send you all the way to St. Joe, which is 30 minutes away, and they'll send you to their outpatient shit. So I would suspect that obviously when the injury happens, our training staff will then send him to fucking Oshner. Um, Instead of having dedicated specialists, because I know Tech had dedicated specialists in some places. Like this guy is going to do the surgery. I know when I got my ruptured Achilles, I went to a guy who the team has. That's like, all right, he's going to be the guy that does orthopedic shit like this. Um, so this is a this is a spider web of things that all has to come together in this nice succinct thing, and it all has to run together like a gear, right? It all got to come together like gears in a machine. They all got to fit together, and they all got to work together and coincide with each other. So, I mean, so to blame people, who's at fault? If you want to get into that, it is the strength and conditioning staff
Mm-hmm.
because either their plan is too intensive, meaning they are breaking down their bodies too much in workouts. Therefore, you start to see their stamina fizzle out throughout the season, or they're not intensive enough, which is why you're seeing a lot of soft tissue issues. Um, I don't really know if
And I
it's a
will say
nutritional thing.
a part of that is the off-season schedule for the NFL now, since a lot of it's been condensed. And like we talked about earlier, nobody plays in the preseason, so you're not getting those actual game reps there. But carry on.
So it's one of those things where you just really have to figure out if you're going too hard or not hard enough. And the strength and conditioning staff is like the biggest part of that. And then you look at the training staff, not necessarily for injuries. Like I said, so to blame injuries, it'll probably be your strength and conditioning staff. But for how long guys are out and if it repeats, that's on the training staff. So if your guys are hurt longer than the average in the league for guys that have the same injury, your training staff is probably not good. And then if they do heal up in an average time or quicker time, but then they re-injure it, that's also not indicative of a good training staff. So the way that we're looking at all these injuries right now we do have Matt Rhea, who used to be Alabama's strength coach. Uh, Maybe you might have to look at him and say, "Hey, man, the plan ain't really working." And there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't mean they're bad guys. It doesn't mean, just sometimes the plan is working. Also, the Louisiana Heat, that does play a factor in a lot of, strength coaches come down from up north. They come down, try to implement a plan like that to these southern teams. It doesn't work out because,
Well, I mean, to
I'll
be
be
fair with the
honest,
Saints, we do have a dome and we do have the indoor practice facility, which they don't use all the time. Like you're going to practice outside when you can, but at least we do have more options than some other teams there, since you can practice indoors and still be in the conditions you're playing in.
right, correct. So still, um, it is it is their job and it is on their discretion to kind of figure it out. And I know actually what Milton told me. He was like, "Well, in terms of strength conditioning, it's not like in college where we all just work out together. They actually all do it on their own, but they all have their own plan that was written by the strength and conditioning staff. So, still, I'm not going to say, oh, the players aren't working out harder. They're not, they're skipping reps, whatever. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to blame them, but you really have to take a look at just the overall plan that is laid out by the strength and conditioning staff and the nutrition staff, and then look at your training staff. So really, to sum all this up, you blame the medical staff for injuries popping up often or so soon, you blame the training staff for the injuries not being healed correctly or not being healed quickly or getting re-injured. And you also have to blame the training staff for actually you can't really blame the training staff for sending guys to specific places. Um, that's more of a team thing and a team insurance thing. Every team has their own insurance. And we all kind of know that the word insurance in Louisiana ain't really the friendliest word.
Not at all.
So that might be you're getting into some politics there, but still, the
Well, that's
team
that's the
these
that's the politics that you get into with the Saints, where they have a deal with Oshner, so that's why they go
exactly
there, because
exactly, and
Oshner.
that
It's a bit of a weird situation where Oshner pays the Saints. Oshner is a sponsor of the Saints, so you're going to this company that's sponsoring you, and the money is now traveling both ways there. It gets a bit iffy, so it's hard to break those ties, I guess. But I
and then of
mean,
course like you just have to get to a point where okay, yes, you're a sponsor, but maybe you dial back the extent of the sponsorship and you go
exactly.
and get specialists because like what the Pelicans have done, they switch from just going to the same team does whatever to now they're allowing specialists to be a thing and specialist is a word that is up and coming and it's rising fast in the NFL. A lot of teams, a lot of players, they're going special. Hell, the 49ers let Chris McCaffrey go all the way to fucking Germany to go see a specialist for his bilateral Achilles tendonitis. That that is no longer frowned upon. That is 100% okay. And shout out to the 49ers for like, hey, yeah, you go fucking do that, man. Because if you feel like that's what's best, fine. We'll cover anything that may happen.
And it's
Now, of
crazy
course,
what
you have
happens when you send someone to a person who this is what they specialize in. So they are an expert in that, especially when it goes down to you'll have people that are experts in particular injuries or particular parts of the body. They'll probably be able to give you better care because they know exactly what to do with that specific situation instead of just because I mean it's hard. If you're just a general doctor, there is so much that you have to be knowledgeable about. You have to be able to cover pretty much everything. So you might be good at your job, but you're not going to be able to put as much effort into focusing on one type of injury or one area of the body as someone who specializes in that.
and that's the thing, right? Because like it's really the whole, jack of all trades but master of none situation. You're right. You go to because like the training staff, they are generalized people, right? They know a little bit about everything, shoulders, ankles, knees. They understand how to rehab it. But like even for me, right? Like my trainers here, they had to brush up on Achilles stuff because obviously Achilles tears aren't common here, and that's understandable. But ideally, and I'm not, ragging on my training staff for that. And, I appreciate them for getting me back. And I came back relatively quick. I came back in 6 months from an Achilles tear, rupture. So, uh, like, ideally, NFL team, if that happened, they would send them off to an Achilles specialist and have them under the care of an Achilles rehabber, or the Achilles rehab specialist will send the information to the training staff weekly, and kind of guide them that way. Um, so until the Saints, because I don't really hear about any specialists right now. I know the Saints got pissed off at Michael Thomas for going to go see a specialist, and then that's kind of how he knew that shit was fucked up for real. Um, so until they start having an open mind about specialists and actually, maybe employing some of these specialists, like having them on payroll a little bit, like or having them on retainer, I should say, like, all right, if this happens, then we're gonna call you. Like you have the rights to this instead of just giving full on monopolized rights to goddamn Oshner. Um, so I mean, hey, Louisiana healthcare ain't even the best anyway. So, like I said, there's a lot of political things you can get into, like the insurance situation, like the top front office brass and their relationship with sponsors, and then Oshner and the medical care system in Louisiana, blah blah blah. But we ain't gonna get into that. But we talked about that. Let's talk about Spencer Rattler because I know people have been sitting there waiting on bated breath to figure out what the fuck we're gonna say about Spencer Rattler because we did all this time about the Saints and we did not mention fucking Spencer Rattler. And I can say I am thoroughly impressed because behind an old line that features two starters, I believe Lucas Patrick got hurt. He didn't play. He didn't play. So you only have Talise Fuega and Trevor Penning as your starters. And well, he got sacked 5 times. Uh, but he showed pretty good pocket awareness. And he showed that he can manipulate the pocket. And kind of the things that Preston was saying about Drake Maye, where he was smooth in the pocket. He didn't really get rattled. He kept his and he didn't really force a lot of throws, even in the circumstances down 17-0. I didn't see him forcing things. He took the underneath passes when they're there. Obviously, there were some rookie mistakes, like his 2 picks. I will say one of the picks was Rashishi. It seems like most of the picks that happens are because they're throwing to Rashishi, and Rashishi refuses to fucking fight for a football. If the day I see Rashishi come back and fight for a ball, that is when hell has frozen the fuck over. But once again, it's like you said last week, right? We don't have a guy who is a guy like that goes back and fight for the ball. We don't have that, and we're kind of forcing Rashishi to be that, and that's not who he is. Um, and uh, outside of the lack of receivers, I mean, he said he wanted to get the ball to Chris Olave. Chris Olave dies. No, that shit was not a hospital ball. I don't care what nobody says. That should be routine pitch and catch. It was a fucking illegal hit, helmet to helmet, and the ref should be a goddamn shame themselves for not seeing it. Player safety my ass because you did not protect fucking Chris Olave. You did not find this guy. Well, they're probably gonna find him, but you did
I
not
mean, I don't even
flag.
know because all the rules expert, Mike Pereira, all the commentators, not a single time throughout the game, whether it was talking about Olave being out, whether it was talking about the play, whether it was talking about the fumble on that, not a single time did they mention that it was a helmet-to-helmet hit. And I know, like, this isn't college where there's targeting where you can, after the play, go review it and go rule it a penalty, which is a good thing because targeting in college is an absolute mess. But at least acknowledge that, hey, Olave left the game because of a helmet-to-helmet hit that he took. If you just say that at least, like, acknowledge what it was instead of when the sideline reporter is like, Olave left the game after taking a hard hit. It's like, yeah, what an understatement.
And that's the thing, right? Because Chris Olave left the game. I mean, he left the game after getting hit in the fucking head. Pretty obvious. Everyone with 2 eyes can see it. When a guy is concussed after a hit and he's ruled out for the game, what in the fuck would that imply happened? And the fact that everyone's just ignored that and no one talked about it, it's dumb. And I was sitting there thinking, okay, well maybe it's kind of like in Madden, right? In Madden, I believe they don't say concussion. I think that's a thing, and then they don't have the ambulance come on the field anymore because that's like the NFL has these weird rules where they don't want to perpetrate all the injuries and all this shit like that. And then
Gone
the
are the
NFL is
days of
already
NFL blitz.
exactly, and I think it was 2K5 they had the ambulance on the field, and but
What a
uh,
game, by the way.
very good game, probably still one of the best games of all time. But sports games, that's sports games. And you already know the NFL is very jumpy when it comes to the word concussion. They don't like it, and then CTE, they do not like that shit. I felt like they didn't do that on the broadcast because unless it was explicitly said that it was a helmet-to-helmet hit by the refs, I felt like it's in their contracts or whatever to not say that it's helmet-to-helmet because that's a sore spot for the NFL. And they're trying to do this player safety shit and expand the league and try to, take on flag football and all this other shit to try to get the game global and hey, no, the game's safe. We're making it safe. We're making it safe. Um, that doesn't help. But still, Chris Olave was the first target of the game, and that's more than what Derek Carr has done. Uh, Unfortunately, Chris Olave dies after that. He's out for the game. Um, what I did like was he did not even down 17. He did not force shit to Rashid Shaheed, and he did not try to force these big ass plays. Um, and Bub Means turned out to be your best receiver of the day. Rasheed he got taken away. Bud Means stepped up. Shout out to my former teammate, La Tech. Uh, Big props to him. He's a really good guy off the field too. He's one of the hardest workers I've seen. I know he's going to get it out the mud, and I know he's going to work out. And I was real happy when we drafted him. I said to fucking draft the guy, and then here we are. Like I said, Mickey Loomis has tapped into my Twitter low key because he did that shit after I told him to draft. Um, but
Well, he won't be tapped
uh,
in after what you said about him.
no, well, he should be. He should be tapped in because maybe he'll fucking look in the mirror a few times and then figure some shit out. But um, Bum stepped up. He 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 just made good plays, and outside of the picks they threw, what I think the last pick, that one was just a shitty throw. He threw it off his back foot unnecessarily. I don't know what the fuck that was. I will say the only thing was I don't think he read the field to the best of his ability because he did miss Holker on a easy walk-in touchdown. He missed a few guys down the field. So when he starts scrambling a little bit, I think he should keep his eyes up a little bit more. He's missed a few guys that way, but I mean, these are all rookie things, and he's in his first ever start in the NFL behind a fucking offensive line that is probably reminiscent of fucking South Carolina. Let's be honest, a
It's just like the
disheveled, beat up,
Patriots.
yeah, just like Patriot, disheveled, beat up, shitty offensive line that's full of injuries and just nothing. Um, I can't say nothing. Talise Frega is Willie Roaf reincarnated, and I'm gonna stand on that.
He is,
Um,
although I did see that his stats have gone down a little bit as the season has progressed. He was the top rated tackle the first 2 weeks, and it's fallen off a bit as we played better competition. But it's also to be expected for a rookie playing better teams while the rest of his O line gets hurt. So I'll give
out of
him all
position
the
too.
pass.
He's not a left
Mm.
tackle. We moved him to left tackle. Um,
As a rookie,
Trevor Penning.
just
Trevor Penning gets a shout though. He was a top rated guy this week. He's been, I can't even say he's been really fucking good lately. He has. I don't think he allowed a sack last week. Uh, he probably allowed one this week. I mean, we got 5. Um, but I'll say though, all in all, considering the circumstances, you fight back. You you go into halftime with a lead, down 17-0. Your defense helps you out. We're looking all right. The problem is after halftime. And this is where Clint Kubiak just once again failed as a coach. And maybe I'm being too hard on him. I understand that your 3 interior guys are all backups, and hell, one of them is like a fucking practice squad guy. And whenever Todd Bowles was like, you know what, rookie quarterback and a very, very, very beat up O line that's missing 3 starters, I'm gonna fucking send a blitz. And they don't have their best receiver anymore. So I'm gonna send a blitz because I don't believe that Rashisha uh a beat up Alvin Kamara, no Taysom Hill, Foster Moreau, and Juwan Johnson can beat me if I send a blitz. And it worked. And unfortunately, Clint Kubiak did not adjust. We kept trying this fucking run game up the middle for whatever fucking reason. It's not gonna work. It hasn't worked for weeks. Uh, and we did not adjust well. We did not give Rattler any help. Now, like I said, Rattler still navigated that pocket pretty good, all things considered. I'm happy with the result that Rattler gave us. Rattler threw the ball like 30 times. I mean, is your rookie quarterback throwing the ball 30 times? I don't know if you're supposed to win that, but considering the fucking circumstances, he showed something. And his mobility kept drives alive multiple times in this game. And I'm looking at it like, man, Derek Carr, if he didn't get the ball off on time, he probably would have took a sack there. And we're talking about a difference of losing 8 to 15 yards to we just got a first down because our quarterback took off running. So I'm very happy what I saw. And if I had to grade Spencer Rattler, I'll say he gets probably a B minus. He, like I said, he still has some rookie growing pains, but it's a B minus because I expect these rookie growing pains. And considering he didn't, because let's compare it to Ian Book. Ian Book kind of had the same situation. Lack of receivers, lack of weapons on offense, banged up O-line. And it's not like he played an elite defense. He played the Dolphins, and he fucking shit himself. That was the worst QB play I've ever seen in my life.
I
Spencer
mean,
Rattler
to be
came out.
fair, there's two takeaways there. One, I mean,
Oh,
Ian
he had
Book
Pete
was
Carmichael too.
absolutely awful. But two, that was the COVID game where we didn't have a team at all. But the fact that they thought that Ian Book could be anything was terrible. But
And 3, y'all are still yapping about the motherfucking Saints an hour later. It's crazy.
welcome back, Preston.
Yeah, welcome back. We started at 11:30. Yeah, about the same.
Yeah, try not to spend an hour on the Saints challenge. That should be our new title every week. But we are going to move on. I'll say Calvin did pretty much take all the words out of my mouth with Rattler. The big takeaways I saw, he's a rookie. He missed a lot of reads. He's got to work on that. But Clint Kubiak, he needs to adjust his offense too. We've been saying this, when the run game's not working, there's really not much else with this team because we have the highest run rate in the league, and if we can't run the set up the play action, Kubiak's a bit lost. But we did see a few more wrinkles this week because you're able to get Rattler out in motion. You're able to have him roll out. You're able to have him extend plays, and that's what we've been saying. You need a mobile quarterback in today's league because unless you have Tom Brady sitting there in the pocket passers just don't do as well. When you have a mobile quarterback, what it does is it changes how the defense has to defend you. Because if you're rolling out all of a sudden, the linebackers have to step up. The flat defenders have to step up a bit, or else you're going to just scramble past them, and that opens up lanes. You have to worry about the middle of the field. If you have a real runner, maybe they have to spy you. But even if you just have mobility, when you step up in the pocket, you can go take off and get some yards instead of go look like you're putting in effort running a 100-meter dash and then get 2 yards like Derek Carr does.
I will say this stat too, because this is an interesting stat too, since we talked about him leaving the pocket. The Saints QB throwing outside the pocket. Spencer Rattler was 7 of 12 for 111 yards throwing outside the pocket. From weeks 1 through 5, Saints QBs have combined for 58 yards, and Rattler's yardage was the most by any Saints QB outside the pocket since they began tracking that stat in 2016. That is what a fucking quarterback that can move can do for you. He stole 111 passing yards outside of the pocket. Imagine if he was in the pocket like Derek Carr would do, just stay in there.
Sack.
Yeah, sack, maybe a pick, maybe he gets the ball off. I'll probably say it look like the stat right here. 1 through 5, weeks 1 through 5, Saints QB only combined for 58 yards total, throwing outside the pocket.
Exactly.
So you probably say maybe he gets maybe 10, 15 yards, standing there throwing a strike, whatever. But 111 yards, 7 of 12. Spencer Rattler was more accurate throwing the ball outside the pocket than Baker Mayfield was throwing the ball over 10 yards. Insane.
And, yeah, it's insane. And we do need to move on, like Preston said. But I think, in closing, what I want to say on Rattler is, look, it wasn't a great game. He is 22 for 40. He threw 2 picks, and that second half, he really just didn't look good. Some of it was game script where we just fell so far behind that it was just chuck the ball and hope something can happen. But look, it's a rookie making his first start. You don't expect that much, but the biggest takeaway is whether or not Spencer Rattler is the guy for the Saints. He showed you exactly what you need to have. If you have a quarterback who can move a little bit like that, it doesn't even have to be a Jaden Daniels, a Lamar Jackson, go and scramble for big gains, but just able to move around, it opens up your offense so much more, and that's something that he just really was highlighted there. Shout out to him, though, getting to make his debut. Hopefully he can build off of that next week, because that's where you really see how does he learn and adjust, and how does he build off of his first game. But moving on, because we've talked about this game forever, we've got to get to the Lions running up the score on the Cowboys on Jerry Jones' birthday.
Man, fuck Jerry
Absolutely
Jones.
love to see it.
In Jerry World.
Fuck Jerry Jones, nigga. Damn, I said the N-word. That's crazy. I got too excited. My fault, y'all. But yeah, fuck Jerry Jones.
Technically, everyone doesn't know if I'm white or black, so I could say it right.
I think we know you're not black.
Yeah, I think we've.
I don't think that for a fact, though. That's not proven to be 100% true.
We can hear it in your voice, bud. You ain't got it. You ain't got that. You just don't have it. You don't have that melanin in your vocal cord. We can hear it. Um, Man, this was one of those games. So, God damn it, as this was happening, I was thinking about something that Dave said a couple weeks ago on the podcast, and it was, "Oh, maybe the Cowboys are just a bad team, and the Saints just beat a bad team." And God damn it, it broke my heart. So I'm like, "Damn, maybe the Saints did just beat a bad team. This is a bad fucking team. The Cowboys are a bad team, and this could probably be a matchup nightmare too, because the Cowboys have zero run defense." And it just so happens that uh, the Lions have the best running back duo in the league with David Montgomery, who they extended on an $18 million contract. I think 3 years, $18 million. Is it 18? I don't know. Whatever. He got extended. He got his money. And they have Jameer Gibbs. That is boom and zoom. We've already talked about them before. And they have a pretty decent O-line and pretty decent run schemes. And man, talk about just dropping dick all over your forehead as a damn OC, head coach, all that. They just drag nuts all across the Cowboys because they are throwing hook and ladders to a fucking tackle. I mean, what in the fuck? And then they try to throw a pass to the other fucking tackle.
Do you think it was kind of dumb for them to go in their trick play bag when they were already up, or
Hell no, that shit
they were
ain't dumb because
they were saying fuck the Cowboys?
Hey, sorry to interrupt you, but shout out to Caden in the chat who was in here.
Subject. Skip subject.
Oh, here we go. We've got special guest Caden joining in. He is a Cowboys fan.
So the Jets and the Bills, it was a great game, right?
Oh, hell no. We're not going to let you get off on that. The fucking Cowboys got licking balls dragged across their fucking face all game. They let David Montgomery, which, by the way, fucking Ben Johnson and fucking Dan Campbell are pissing me the hell off because I got Jameer Gibbs on fantasy, and they keep on fucking over Jameer Gibbs in the fucking red zone. I'm tired of it. God damn it! I know you just extended Dave Montgomery, so they probably did that just for that. But damn, can my guy get some touches in the red zone, please? Pass him the ball,
dude. If you knew ball, you knew Montgomery was going to be the red zone back. Come on, bro.
To be fair, Montgomery is the red zone back, but to be fair, the way the Lions use their backs is they're interchangeable. Yes, they have different skill sets where Montgomery is more of a power guy and Gibbs is more of your explosive speed guy, but what they do is they trust both of their backs to do everything. They say, we know both of our backs can catch the ball, so if it's a receiving down, either of them can be out there. And on the goal line, we prefer to have Montgomery out there, but if it's a Gibbs drive and he's doing well, he will get those opportunities. That's really what makes their running room, besides their O-line being incredible, of course. What makes their running back room so good is that even though they have different skill sets and profiles, since both of the backs can do the same things that they do to different levels, but they can still do it all, they're able to interchange and say, hey, this drive we're going to feed Montgomery more, and then the next drive we're going to feed Gibbs more, and we're going to keep them both fresh because we know they can both do whatever, and when one of them comes in, the defense can't say, oh, Gibbs is in, it's going to be a pass play, or Montgomery's in, it's going to be a run up the middle, because they can do whatever. And it's really fun to watch how creative this Lions offense has gotten. This was really the game, and I know they're playing a bad team, like we said. Sorry, Caden, but they're playing a bad team, but
worst team in the league.
This is a game where we really saw the Lions fully clicking on what they can do. They get their run game absolutely cooking, getting both backs going, getting everything going with that. They have their pass game. They're able to take some explosive shots to J-Mo Williams, and they're able to just get the whole game going. When this offense is clicking, they're able to bring so many different things at you, and they'll mix in trick plays. They'll do all this. They really do a great job. And this was the most complete game that we've seen from them. And now we know that the Cowboys are a bad barometer, especially with all the injuries they have, but this is what you want to see from this Lions team as they keep progressing.
to what Preston asked, oh, you think it's too early for the trick plays? Hell no. This is the shit that I learned from Sean Payton whenever the offense was just fucking lethal. We don't give a damn how many points we scored. We are going to pull out the most absurd shit. Because look, as a defensive guy myself, I can tell you the fucking hurt that we feel because we're already getting beat the fuck up. Now all of a sudden you throwing laterals to a damn offensive lineman. Come on, bro. We're gonna look at you like, damn,
No, no,
bro.
no.
Like that.
There was beef behind that. There was a reason for that.
Oh yeah, there's
Last
always reasons.
year,
That's the fucking
There
Cowboys.
definitely
Fuck the
was a
Cowboys.
no,
reason for it, and it makes it more valid. But
no,
at the same
last
time, like, they were up 30-something points when they did that shit.
well, Dan Campbell already had beef with the Cowboys before he even became a coach. And last year they had the shit where Skipper reported, didn't report, didn't get called, whatever the fuck happened. And their social media team bitched about it for months. And they came back with a vengeance and did what they set out to do. And we sucked. I'm a Texans fan anyways. I don't know what y'all are talking about.
Texans fan, go fuck yourself. Drake May almost shit on y'all, by the way.
I'm a Texans, Bengals. I'm a Chiefs fan, Yankees fan, Dodgers, all the big teams.
Get this guy out of here. Get this fucking guy out of here.
Yeah. Clearly someone
He's
was
a
listening to our
Raiders,
talk
what do you
about
mean,
Preston earlier.
Warriors.
He's a Cowboys fan. Come on, bro. He's going bandwagon.
He is a Cowboys
Man,
fan. But yeah, Preston, you missed it earlier. We actually were talking about your fandoms.
Hey, man, listen.
Oh my goodness.
Look, here we go.
Oh
Look,
my
Patriots.
goodness.
I wasn't even a Brady fan. I was a Randy Moss fan. When I was growing up watching football, he was with the Patriots. I can't do nothing about that. The Yankees, it's Derek
He
Jeter.
was there for like half a year.
He was there for 2, okay? And I was the first year I started
So
watching
that
football.
was your whole growing up. That was Preston's whole growing up was 2 years.
Did what?
You said growing up, I became
growing up, dumbass.
Yeah, because yes, you said growing up, Randy Moss was there. So for the 2 years that you were growing up, apparently, that was when you became the fan.
When I first started watching football is when Randy Moss was there, bro.
That's gay.
And then you had Wes Welker. Then you had, like, the GOAT, Aaron Hernandez.
My GOAT, for sure.
Danny Amendola. All these just white boys, bro, just kicking ass,
So what you're saying is you only supported them because they had white players.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
So what you're saying is you should have been a Cowboys fan when we drafted Ryan Switzer.
That is
The
a
drippiest
throwback
white
name.
boy.
If I only like white guys, I'd be a Joey Bosa dick rider, to be fair.
Nah, Nick Bosa's the racist.
Yeah, I was just
I
saying.
think both of y'all have very suspect fandoms, and y'all both should be tried in court for it.
Mine, I can
man.
explain very easily to you.
Mine's not that crazy. The Yankees are just because of Derek Jeter, and then you got the Grizzlies, bro.
Yeah,
No,
just-
okay, you're insane because you're a team of one Boston team and then a New York team. The two cities that fucking hate each other, you just decide that you're going to cherry pick one of the baseball teams and one of the football teams.
Yeah, I'll root for whoever's good.
I'm like Jesus for that area, bro. I'm bringing together the Jews and the Gentiles, bro.
No. Pretty sure everybody up there hates the Jews.
And now the stream is canceled.
Yeah, can't co-sign that. Look, let me hurry up and try to get this back on track before we get canceled.
How was that
shout out,
cancelable? I don't know about that.
shout out the Lions for shitting, dropping dick and balls all over the Cowboys. Fuck the Cowboys. I saw the funniest video of all time, and that was this Cowboys fan on all fours throwing up in the fucking stadium, and a Lions fan in
from
a
last
David Montgomery
year.
jersey
That's
fucking
from
hitting the
last
gritty
year.
around her fucking body. That shit is the
That's from
funniest
last
shit of
year.
all time. Don't matter if it's from
That's
last
from
year or
last
this year. That shit is funny as hell. Because either way, if I was a Cowboys fan and I seen that fucking performance, I'm on all fours throwing up too. That is disgusting football that was just played. And god damn it, maybe Dak Prescott pulled off the biggest heist in history. So shout out to him for getting his ski mask
Did y'all
on.
see that video of that Lions fan walking a Cowboys jersey and a skeleton on a leash?
Yes, that was great.
Caden's so
He
depressed
said,
right
"Come
now.
on, Dak. Come on, Dak. Come on, Dak. We're going home."
Shout out, man. Shout out to the Lions. I love looking at the Lions offense. I really do. I want to hate Amon-Ra just because of what the fuck he be saying about the Saints week in, week out, rent free. But god damn it, how can I hate the guy that's always helped me win in fantasy? And god damn it, I just love watching him play the game. Um, but yeah, hopefully Ben Johnson will be the Saints head coach next year.
No, he's the Cowboys head coach, and we're getting Saleh as the DC. Yep.
I'm sorry, but nobody wants to fucking work for goddamn Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is going to be your next head coach and your next DC. So there you go. Have fun with
You're
that.
gonna have to get rid of Jerry Jones
gonna
before we can ever take y'all seriously. Like Jerry Jones is the only reason y'all's franchise is diminishing.
You're so wrong, though. It's really you're so wrong because we need him to die. We need him to die. We need his sons to die. We need his whole fucking bloodline to be wiped out. It's not just Jerry. It's Steven. It's John Steven. It's all of them.
Yeah, that's the scariest part for Cowboys fans is that whenever Jerry Jones is finally gone, Steven's going to be running the show for another 40 years.
Well, Steven's already basically running it. Jerry just, for real, has the final say. And then it's going to be the same thing with John Steven once Steven takes over. And John Steven's what, like 26, 27?
But hey, let's just bring up, I think now's the perfect time to bring up one of my favorite fun facts of all time. If you're watching, just look on your screen right now. That is the number of days since the Cowboys have made an NFC Championship game. We are now over 10,500 at 10,502 days.
What's that?
Crazy, Dave. I know where you live now.
I mean, you knew already,
like
but
27 years, something like that.
1996.
Yeah, something like
Man, Drew Brees would never. That's all I'm saying. Hell, Mickey Loomis made it to the damn NFC Championship game before that.
Didn't correct me if I'm wrong. I genuinely don't know. Didn't Drew only go to one of those?
No, he's went to multiple. He lost
NFC Championship game.
Yeah, he went Super Bowl year and then the Rams won.
Yeah.
For some reason, I didn't think that was the NFC Championship game.
Well, hold on. Was the 49ers one in 2011 in the NFC Championship game?
Was it?
I think that was. Something's telling me that was. Because I don't remember the 49ers playing anyone else after that.
Y'all play. Drew Brees appeared in 3.
So 2011 would probably be the one, the second one.
But anyway, Cowboys suck.
That ain't his fault, man. That wasn't his fucking fault. Man, the ref sold him and his fucking defense sold him every fucking time.
But anyway, Cowboys suck. I mean, there's really, I don't know if there's anything more that you could take away from this team besides they're just not a good team. I mean, offense is just the most boring vanilla offense that you will ever see. They have a worse run game than the Saints do right now with all the Saints O-line injuries. I mean, absolutely nothing there to set anything up. Dak Prescott's not really doing anything.
Hands and knees begging.
I mean,
we've been begging for a running back in the draft the past 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't gotten
guess
one.
What? You could have paid $6 million for Derrick Henry, but nope. Jerry Jones said, "Oh, we can't afford that.
It's too expensive, bro. That's way too much money. Why would we do something like that? That's crazy."
Yeah, well, Derrick Henry's ranked number 1 in fucking everything right now, and
he shoved his dick down our throat too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, y'all have Rico Dowdle and Deuce Vaughn and Ezekiel Elliott, the corpse of Ezekiel Elliott, who's somehow confused. Why am I not getting red zone targets? I don't know, Zeke. Maybe because you can't fucking run the ball anymore. I don't know.
It's crazy, but I mean,
don't forget about
how long
he's
do you
on
think?
The practice squad. Don't forget about Hunter Lipke.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's been getting in there, but
he's good,
the best one.
But I mean, how long do you think McCarthy's leash is on this team?
Oh, he's done after this year. No matter.
I mean, he's done after this year, but you think he makes it through the season?
Not his fault, but he's fucked. It's not his fault, but he's fucked. Jerry doesn't really do that. He's gonna fire him at the end of the year.
The thing that I think that might happen to this team is this screams a team that the wheels are gonna fall off at any moment for the season. I mean, you already see it. It's weird. They're 3-3, but
They're already off.
their wins, like they're 3-3, so technically they're almost at the top of their division. They're one game back, but they just lost 47-9. They're 0-3 at home. They haven't looked like anything at all good whenever they play a good team. It's just they're a team where they're still technically in the fight, but one or two more bad losses, and you have a coach that you know is a dead man walking because he'll be gone after the year. Like, there's going to be nothing to play for, and it could get scary for this team. But at the flip side, I mean, technically they could turn it around, and all they have to do is be better than the Commanders, which is the craziest part of all this. All you have to do is be better than the Commanders, and you win the division. But they don't look like they're capable of doing that.
No.
I mean, the Eagles aren't horrible, though.
No, the Eagles suck. You know what? We'll go talk about that game right now, actually.
The Eagles are about to.
This is the worst game of the week,
because
probably.
A.J. Brown's healthy.
But I want to talk about the Eagles because I have a few thoughts that I want to say about them. The Eagles have 0 points in the first quarter this season. The Eagles barely squeaked by a win against the Browns, who are one of the worst teams in the league. The Eagles have just a terrible, boring, unattractive offense where you know exactly what it is. All they're going to do is either run the ball or they're just going to throw a deep shot and pray that it works. I mean, it's just terrible what they're doing. They just are a poorly coached team. They have Sirianni yelling at a fan after the game. Like, they're just a complete mess.
And then he immediately brought his kids up onto the stage for the press conference to avoid any tough questions. So Nick Sirianni's a bitch.
He is. I mean, we've said that plenty on here.
Calm down, Megatron. What are you saying?
I'm going to read you some. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you now.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna read you player A or B. Or I guess I'm just gonna read you player B. So 33 games played. Let's just go with and at an 85.2 quarter.
Oh no, we do not have
That's
you here.
Jalen Hurts without A.J. Brown.
Well,
no.
We you were kind of cutting out there, but I see what you're putting down here. I'll say Jalen Hurts with A.J. Brown isn't a good quarterback.
No, so his numbers without A.J. Brown or Justin Fields with the Bears.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will say this right now. Definitively, I think that Jalen Hurts, even with A.J. Brown, is not a good quarterback. He had one really good statistical year, and every other year he's been an absolute turnover machine. He's a great fantasy football quarterback if you have him because he'll tush-push his way into the end zone. But other than that, as a real-life quarterback, he turns the ball over, he makes bad reads, and he does not do anything special at all to unlock an offense.
Don't pay your fucking quarterback after one good fucking year. Another example. Case in point. Jalen fucking Hurts. But like I said, I ain't gonna go too hard on the Eagles because my boy played there. But
yeah, I mean, I shouldn't go too hard on them either because I went hard on them and the Saints lost. But
yeah, Nick Sirianni fired up. Man, look, a win's a win. We say it all the time. A win's a win. You're not really stealing a win if you're beating them. I think really you look at the Browns and you just have to fucking wonder. I'm starting to think the only reason why they're keeping Deshaun Watson is because they know Jameis is better, but they are kind of looking for a better pick. And they're also kind of looking for an excuse to say, we can kind of get out of this contract. Maybe if he gets hurt or something like that.
Well, no, if he gets hurt, it's the opposite because they should they should shut him completely down. Like, remember when Derek Carr was shut down with the Raiders before he left? It should be like that.
Oh yeah.
He should be shut down because if he gets hurt, it's like Tua. Tua, if he has to medically retire because of his concussions thing, which it looks like he's not going to at this point, but if he were to have to do that, he would be due over $100 million, like over $120 million, I think, completely guaranteed. Now, if he just got cut or whatever, it wouldn't all be guaranteed necessarily. But if he was medically cleared, like if he is medically cleared to come back, it wouldn't be all guaranteed. But if he has to medically retire because of that, and he gets cut because of medical reasons, then it's all guaranteed. Same thing with Deshaun. Like Deshaun Watson, if he's gonna get cut, might as well happen to have a major injury or whatever. But I mean, I think at this point, the only reason that you play Deshaun Watson is if you're a GM that thinks that you are about to get fired and are praying that Deshaun Watson can somehow justify his trade value. But even it's still, like, you're past that point because he's just looked so bad. Just apparently getting massages must have been his superpower or the source of his superpowers because ever since he left there and stopped doing that, he just forgot how to play football. Took that time off football and just became like a new person, swapped bodies with them that doesn't know how to throw the ball more than 2 yards. It's just insane how hard he's fallen off. But I mean, there's no reason. Man. Like, you would think that Kevin Stefanski would be desperate to go put Jameis Winston in because he's going to be on the hot seat with how bad they're playing. But who knows what's going on there? I mean, there's something fishy.
It's his call. Like, I really think there's something going on in that front office. We're like, oh, look, keep him in. We get a lower pick, or I should say a better pick. If we keep him in, I don't think Deshaun Watson start next year. I mean, look, I've already said multiple times on this pod. Look, cut your fucking losses. It's the fucking sunken cost fallacy. It's the fucking fallacy of well, maybe this will work out. No, cut your losses. This shit you've seen enough since. I mean, the guy is what 0-26 on third down. I mean, fuck, you give me 26 chances as a quarterback in the NFL. I think I could get you a first down at some point. In 26 chances, maybe I'm just severely underestimated. But I mean, fuck, come on, man. And maybe he's got the yips. Maybe the amount of mental damage that he's taken from getting his back kicked in over and over again from every fan of every team in the NFL, getting his back kicked in from the media, getting his back kicked in from other players, getting his back kicked in from coaches and staff members on other teams. That just probably just took too much of a damn toll, and it's just done irreversible damage. And also the pressure of having a contract like that. It's just probably too much. It's just too much. If he was making Jameis money, he probably wouldn't be this bad. And, you know, and he's still getting, he just got another fucking sexual assault thing brought on him. They resolved it fairly quickly. But the fact this is even still coming in it's absurd. And it's like, man, shout out to his lawyers. His lawyers have held it the fuck down. I hope Young Thug gets his lawyers because, man, they kept Deshaun out of relative trouble for most of this and guaranteed him a fucking massive contract like that. Yeah, bro, they're undefeated. Uh, but that team, and it's kind of crazy because Joe Flacco had that team firing on all cylinders. And fuck, I ain't gonna lie, Joe Flacco, I get excited. I have Josh Downs on my fantasy team. Once I saw Joe Flacco starting, I said, "Oh, absolutely, I'm starting him." And that has been the best. Josh Downs has got me 20 points ever since Joe Flacco started. Last year, when I had David Njoku, when fucking Joe Flacco came in, David Njoku went from a backup to my damn starter. I love Joe Flacco for my fantasy teams. That guy right there will, in fact, throw the ball to the fucking players I have, and I appreciate him for it. But you let him go. I thought that was pretty stupid to let Joe Flacco go. I think he would be excellent to have in the back. Whenever I guess you decide to bench Deshaun, but fuck, man. I mean, I don't know what in the fuck you do as the Browns. You look kind of good towards the end of last year. Your defense was growing. Your offense looked kind of dangerous. And fuck, the only difference is you got Deshaun, and now you're talking about trading Amari Cooper. He's the fucking Miles Turner of the damn NFL. But it's just I don't know what you do. I don't know what you do as the Browns. Uh, I'm done talking about the Browns. If y'all done talking about the Browns,
I mean,
I don't
yeah.
really have
I mean, there's
I
not
don't
really
have a
much else to say about the Browns. I mean, unless Preston could say, as bad as Jacoby Brissett was, at least he didn't have Deshaun.
I mean, honestly, yeah, like that's what I was going to say. Is like I thought I was going to feel better about the Browns than I did the Patriots, and here we are. I'm feeling better about us in the future. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
You know who I feel good about though?
Maybe they just need to trade for Jacoby Brissett, right?
I mean, Jacoby Brissett kind of looked washed, but yeah, sure, go ahead. I mean, it might be better, honestly.
Him and Derek Carr. Take them both.
Y'all finna say, yeah, we'll just trade. We'll take James back, and they can take Derek Carr. I think that's.
I mean,
think
so
They
that's
you
fair.
can swap.
realistically, they do need to start Jameis at some point.
It's crazy. I mean, they have to just be tanking. That just has to. But I mean, it's just such a shitty situation. Like, if I was Stefanski, I would say I don't care because if you're gonna fire me either way, I'm just gonna play the better quarterback, and at least my resume won't be as tarnished. Because if they tank, he's gonna get fired. So you might as well just go try and win games.
Yeah, but yeah, we know,
It's a
we
business.
know the little politics. Yeah.
Well, no, it is fully politics, but I mean the flip side of that is if you come out and say I want to start Jameis Winston, and then you get overruled by the organization and they fire you for that, that's going to help you get another job because then what you can say is, look, I tried to do what I could. This is the Browns. You've seen how they've always operated. But if he goes and they go 1-16 this season, 2-15. He's going to have a hard time getting another head coaching job right away. So, really, he just needs to do what's best for him at this point, what's best for the players around him, because none of the players in the NFL don't like tanking, because their careers are so short.
Even if like he got denied on that though, like even if they continue to lose, he can just attest it to Deshaun Watson sucking. Like either way,
exactly.
He's still gonna get another job.
If they really fall apart, though, it'll hurt him more than if he makes a stand and says, hey, I'm starting Jameis Winston, because the team would be behind him. NFL players do not like tanking because their careers are so short. You want to have every chance to win anything you can while you can. Any chance to just perform while you can, because just like that, your career can be over, and you don't want it to just be sucking on the Browns for a couple years and that be it.
Well,
I see both sides of it, but yeah.
you know who I do like though. This is the clever transition I came up with. Caleb Williams. I would like to note that I was on this pod a couple weeks ago, and I did mention the Bears were going to figure it out. Now, even though I'm pulling that card, I'm going to unpull the card because I recognize that every team that the Bears have beaten, all those teams have like what, one win?
Yeah,
So
it's the easiest schedule ever. Now, I'm kind of on the opposite train of you, where I was saying before, no, they've just beat up on bad teams. Like, they're not really that good of a team. But no, look, they are just beating bad teams. Doug Peterson is not making it home from London with a job. But, I mean,
if he loses to the Patriots, yeah.
Even if he beats the Patriots, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe give it another week, but there's nothing to play for there. I mean,
he's on a week by week basis now.
They're
my boy.
1-5 already. They look absolutely terrible. I mean, everything's fallen apart for them completely. So, who knows who knows how it fell off that bad, besides the fact that, I mean, there's a lot of rot in that organization where you had a lot of issues, Mike, that you're just trying to cover up. You're saying, all right, we'll bring in guys like Christian Kirk to go be a big money signing, who he's more of a stopgap player. You have just all this. It just feels like a whole team of stopgaps mashed together. Now, you do have some exciting stuff like drafting Brian Thomas, but Trevor Lawrence, they pay him all that money when he didn't really deserve it, and it's just stopgaps surrounding him. Also, Doug Peterson, I don't think he's a great NFL coach. He got that Super Bowl with the Eagles, but outside of that, really hasn't been able to do much. So I think maybe he's not the greatest. He tried with this, but I mean, this is just a mess of a situation. They need to clean house, but they're locked into their core with Trevor Lawrence now after that. Going to the Bears, though, I did have some positive takeaways from Caleb. I mean, it's hard to judge too much when you're playing against the Jaguars because everyone's seeing how absolutely terrible their defense is. But you're seeing just little things every week that they're starting to improve on. The first 3 weeks, their offense was terrible. It was bland. It was boring. There's just nothing to like about it. Now they're starting to mix in a little bit of tempo. Go hustle to the line, then motion into whatever play you want. Go run a little bit more of a college offense, if you want to call it that, but just have some variation where you're getting your guys into better situations. And Caleb's making some better throws. He still gets hung up on his first read a bit too long, but he's starting to process things a bit quicker. And every time he makes those quick decisions, you're starting to see, yeah, he has the talent. He can do things. He still has to prove it against good defenses, but this is what you want to see in a rookie. It's like we talked about earlier. It's not going to be perfect right away. You just want to see development and you want to see progress, and I think that's what we're seeing here.
You know what? Keenan Allen came alive, and once again, look, this is probably just a bad team. Cole Kmet, great game from Cole Kmet. Started him in fantasy this week. I made the decision. Start him over David Njoku. Man, I was on it this week. But I mean, you're right, man. You hit the nail on the head. He has shown steady improvement. And it actually looked like this game he had a lot of fun. And he really just settled down a lot and was just relaxed. And I think that's very important. These games are important for rookie quarterbacks because, like Crescent with Drake May. If Drake May goes out and he beats up on the Jags, that's going to do so much for his confidence moving forward. Now, it
Oh
might be
God.
false confidence, but still, it is confidence nonetheless, and it will do a
Hey
lot. Like
man,
if Spencer
a win against any team in the NFL is, I mean, it's the NFL. The worst team is still professional athletes. You know what I'm saying?
it is, but if you go and beat up on them, that helps a lot. Like if you barely scrape out a win, yeah, I feel good about it. But like if you go out there, you throw 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, you feel fucking great. That's going to do a lot for you. Like if Spencer Rattler would have came out here, won this game, man, he probably been fucking floating much higher. It just does a lot of good things for your for your rookie quarterback. Now the Bears are going into a bye, I believe. What are they gonna look like after the bye? They are part of NFC North that surprisingly to everybody, I don't know if surprisingly, but I think every one of those teams are 4-2, if I'm correct. Well, obviously 5-0
Uh,
for the Vikings, but
I think it's 4-2. Yeah, I could
yeah,
be wrong
five and
about that.
zero, and then 4-2 for everybody else. Uh, that that division is kind of nutty
It is. That is
right now.
actually that is the first time that has ever happened in any division where you have all four teams having at least 4 wins through week 6. The first time that has happened since realignment in 2002. The crazier thing about that is though, it's not like you just have a team that's just squeaking by or whatever. All 4 teams have at least a plus 47-point differential.
Mm, mm. The Bears are playing bad
That's
teams, and their defense is pretty good, so that helps a lot. Um, the Packers are just a really well coached team. They won games with Malik Willis. Um, the Vikings, God damn it, I'm gonna let Dave talk about that. I don't want to get on that train yet. Yeah, they're fucking contender. No, because I'm waiting for the fall off. I'm waiting, and I'm gonna be the first one to say, I knew it. I knew it. Um, they
I
look good
mean,
though.
I think the one thing that might help your case is just that their division is so tough that they're going to have to play all those tough divisional games. But no, the Vikings are maybe the most complete team in the league. They're not the best team in the league, I would say, yet, but they have a very solid offense and a tremendous defense. And when you put it together, that's what you need. You need to be good on both sides of the ball, great on both sides of the ball, even, and look, Sam Darnold, he's Sam Darnold. He's played well, but can you trust him against a great defense? You don't necessarily know yet, but he has such a good core around him. He's got a great receiving core. He's got Aaron Jones is hurt now, so that hurts, but he's still got Kevin O'Connell is doing a great job scheming that offense and getting the best out of him. And they have TJ Hawkinson's going to be coming back, so that's going to be a pretty big boost. So it's just a good situation, and it's like we love to say, and we will never stop harping on, put quarterbacks in good situations, and good things will happen. Teams have this notion where it's like, oh, we need to go get a franchise guy no matter what. No, you need to. Yes, you need a franchise guy, but if you want him to be a franchise guy, you've got to build around him so that he can succeed. And you see all these teams that succeed, they built around their quarterbacks.
I guess we'll see next week, around this time next week. They have a tough game coming up, I believe. I forget who they play, but I know it was a pretty tough game. 49ers? Am I right on that?
And they play the Lions, so getting
Oh,
into
yeah,
divisional
still
play.
tough. Yeah, so still tough team. We'll see.
Tougher
We'll
team,
see what
honestly.
that defense is. We'll see what that defense is capable of against the Lions offense. We will see. Who's next, man? Who's next on the list to talk about?
I mean, is there any other games that really stood out to you that you want to talk about? Either you or Preston?
No, fuck the Falcons. Don't care.
Honestly, I forgot about that game because they were playing the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, fuck them. Chuba Hubbard, shout out to my fantasy team. Shout out. Um, the Bengals fucking got in a dogfight with the Giants.
Yeah.
Zach Taylor, we
Two
know what
bad
you
teams.
are. We know what you are, Zach Taylor. You can't hide from us. We are the noticers. We notice that. We notice you for what you are, what you really are.
I mean, do you want to get into that game a little bit, or do you just want to kind of leave it at that?
I didn't watch it, so I won't be able to speak on it, but y'all can.
I mean, look, it's tough, man. It's tough to talk about because yeah, the Bengals got a win, but it's kind of like the Eagles, right? Like, yeah, you get a win, but it's not like this shit was easy, and it was against a bad football team.
You are what your record
Like,
says you are.
yeah, and like, so what's that? 2 wins now?
2-14.
2-14. Damn, Saints are 2-4. The Saints better than the Bengals. I don't give a fuck what anybody say.
I mean, not right now with the health.
I think if we played the Giants, I think we would win. I mean, yeah, the Bengals won too, but hey, man, look, we play the Panthers again, so that's another win. So I'm taking that
Fair.
as I can. Unless
After seeing Drake May, do y'all think the Panthers are still better or what?
I never thought the Panthers were better.
Yeah, no one. Yeah, we thought the Panthers were the worst team in the league by far.
Well, I've seen some people give Panthers praise after the Andy Dalton and everything like that. So,
I mean, that was great.
So-
That was, you know how we talked about interim coaches earlier? That was an interim quarterback game where he comes in for a game, team's all fired up. They're like, yeah, we finally don't have Bryce Young. Let's do something against a bad team. Let's go win. But then after you realize the next week, no, they're actually a terrible team. So, yes, they're getting better quarterback play, but they still suck.
I don't know if the Panthers pull out another one this year? I don't think so. Maybe they sneak one. Shit, maybe it's against us. You know how
Yeah,
the
I was
Saints
going to
be.
say, we might be that win that
Yeah.
they sneak. As
Yeah.
much as it sucks, it's on the road. And at this rate, we might have one of our original starting offensive players because
I mean,
we're down to
fuck,
4.
man. We might be DBG podcast might be starting that offensive line
We might be.
for the Saints. I'll tell you right now, I would look, Dennis. If you listen to this, I would be much better served at defensive line. That's what I do. Put me at end. It doesn't look like they listened last week when we talked about Devontae Adams and trying to get him over here.
I'll go be your short range punter. If you need to punt it from like the opposing 30-yard line and go pooch them, I could go do that.
Maybe be the onside kick guy.
Well, onside kicks are dead, but hey, if you need a punt to go like 20 yards and then go land inside the 10, I can do that for you if you don't trust Groupie ever for some reason.
um, you know what? Better yet, they can have us on the sideline, man, just coaching. Because I'll be the advisor to Dennis Allen. If he dares call some dumb shit, I will be the first one to say, no, 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 we're not running that.
Well, you could be the,
Uh,
you know how they have the get back coach or like the get back guy, right? Who has to pull the coach back when he gets too far out. You're that, but instead of pulling him back for that, you're pulling him back when he makes a stupid decision.
Yep, and then I'm gonna have to run all the way up to the press box, get on Clint Kubiak's ass. Hey, bud, we're not calling fucking run plays of the mill anymore. We're not. All right, stop fucking doing it. We're not doing it. Let it go, please. I know you're trying to prove a point because fucking Shanahan, he has a problem where he doesn't run enough in times. You have a problem where you're running too fucking much. Let's just
Highest
relax.
run
All
rate
right.
in the league, and we have no interior offensive line. How's that supposed to work?
As hey, he said, fuck it. These guys are NFL players. We'll make it work. It ain't working. So uh we didn't talk about the Raiders. I don't think I want to talk about the Raiders. Um,
I mean, they lost to the Panthers. They don't deserve to be talked about.
which is why I feel like they should be talking about. Because I'm okay, so I'm looking at this from Devontae Allen's perspective, which is okay, so I have three options. Jets, Saints, or Raiders. I mean, fuck. When is retirement the option? You know what I mean? Like, damn.
Well,
I don't want to fucking
Saints
play.
are the option if you want to retire because you come here, medically retire, get all the money you need.
That is true. You come here, Devontae, I promise you, you will probably have like turf toe, but we're gonna diagnose that as like a bruised sternum, and then you're gonna be out for the rest of your career. I know that's in two completely different spots on the body, uh, but that's just how this team operates. Now, I will say, if you have heart problems or if you have cancer, we will catch it. The Oshner will do that. Uh, so maybe if you suspect something, hey, go there. It's Crucial Catch Month. Shout out to breast cancer and the breast cancer virus and all the women going through breast cancer. Shout out to everyone with cancer. Rest in peace, Tylee Craft. Um, shout out to y'all. Y'all the real warriors. Y'all the real fighters.
Shout
Real
out.
soldiers. Um, and yeah, I'm wearing my pink do-rag all October, every game for y'all. That's my thing. I'm wearing the do-rags for the game.
That's the thing, wearing the
But
thing that they won't be able to see because you wear a helmet.
I take the helmet off. I don't wear it all the damn time. I take it
You
off.
take
They
it
gonna
off
see it.
standing there on the sideline looking pretty.
That's right. That damn pink gonna be clean. Unless it's third down package, then your boy may have to go get some action.
There you go. But
But
I think before we close, the last thing I want to talk about is the AFC because the AFC has been interesting this year to say the least. It's just crazy how wide open it is. I mean, let's go. I'm gonna go pull up the AFC standings for y'all right now, but the Chargers winning is really what kind of put this in perspective for me. So you have the Chargers go and win that game, and all of a sudden they're sitting there at 3-2, and they're a wild card team in a year that they were supposed to be. This was the reset year for them. They get a new coach in, they trade away some guys, kind of shed some salary, rebalance their books with the cap, and they don't really make any big. They don't make any big free agency additions at all, especially on offense. They just say, hey, this is going to be our little reset year. We're going to go get our tackle in the draft. We're going to go build around our new identity. But all of a sudden, and I know they've had some easier games, but they're sitting here at 3-2. They are 6th in the AFC. And then when you take a look at the other teams around them, you have the Chiefs obviously winning their division. You have the Texans win their division. The Ravens win their division. The Bills win their division. And all of those, except for the Ravens, look like they're going to run away with it. You have the Baltimore Ravens there. They're winning their division, but they are tied on record with the Steelers. So that could be a bit of a battle, which is a bit of a surprise that the Steelers are the team battling them. But look at how the Bengals and Browns turned out. But then you got the wild card. Steelers or Ravens are looking like whichever one doesn't win the division, they're taking one spot. But outside of that, you've got the 3-2 Chargers as the only other team with a record above 500. Every other team there is you have 2 3-3 teams in the Colts and the Broncos, and then a bunch of teams with losing records. It's really interesting as it just seems like it's so wide open right now in the AFC. There's not really any teams that are pulling away in the wild card pack, and the division leaders are so far ahead besides the Ravens, which I think they're still a much better team than the Steelers, but those games are going to be played tight no matter what, so anything can happen there. But the division races are 3 of the 4 are pretty much, I won't say over because it's so early in the season, but you have a heavy favorite. So the wild card is just wide open with a bunch of mediocre teams trying to figure out who's actually good and who's going to fill into those spots.
So what I'm hearing is if Drake May goes on a little run here, we're making the playoffs.
I mean, it is not out of the realm of possibility. Your team sucks. I mean, look at how bad your defense is. Which is surprising because that was supposed to be the strength. Look at how bad your O-line is. But if you go on a run, the teams ahead of you you're tied with the Browns. You've got the Titans ahead of you by virtue of having a bye. You have the Bengals ahead of you who on paper are way more talented, but as you see by their performance, games are played on paper. You have the Raiders. You have the Jets. You have the Dolphins. You have the Broncos. And then you have that third wild card spot right now is the Colts. Do any of those teams stand out to you at all?
I think we played most of those teams in that little stretch I was talking about.
Yeah, and do any of those stand out to you as good teams?
Not really. That's what I'm saying. It's very possible that if Drake May continues to improve, we can go on a run here.
It's crazy because the NFC is like the complete opposite right now, where your top 2 seeds right now are in the same division, the Vikings and the Lions. You also have the Bears and the Packers as 2 of your presumable wildcard teams. And one of those teams, out of the Vikings and the Lions, are going to make it in the wild card. So all of a sudden, you have an entire division potentially taking up the playoffs. Now, I know they'll beat up on each other a bit. But outside of that, you have teams like the Eagles, who, I mean, I don't think they're a good team, but they have the talent to be a good team. You have the 49ers. You have the Seahawks are kind of falling off now. But you have teams like that who would probably beat any of those AFC teams that we mentioned in the hunt. Like, it's crazy how much more competitive the NFC has been than the AFC this year. But it's a wide open slate on the AFC, and it's going to be really interesting to watch as the season progresses. Because any of those teams that look bad, if they just go on a run and win a couple games in a row, get some momentum, they're a playoff team.
I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Book it. I'm not going to bet on it though.
I can't wait to come back to this. And then the Patriots have only won 2 games since then.
Hey, if they do, then we'll get Travis Hunter or Will Campbell. It's a win-win for me.
No, you will be getting. I don't know who the hell y'all.
Honestly, no. I think the Patriots, it would be the perfect move for them to go get Travis Hunter while they have absolutely no offensive line and just say, you know what? We're just not even going to block.
Or I said Will Campbell. Chill out.
Yeah, man. Take the Bengals route. Fuck it. We don't need. They went to the Super Bowl without drafting no line. So you know what? Fine. Fuck it. Do that.
Yeah, and they have a great coach leading them too.
Well, that's Zach Taylor's fault. Gerard Mayo. The verdict's still out on him. I don't know if I like him or not. That's one thing I will talk about. Like having Belichick as my coach for like the past 20 years, you never really heard anything from the media. And now, like, I feel like Mayo just yaps too much. Like, he's always saying something to the media. And I'm just like, why even say that? Like, today he came out and was like, Jalen Polk needs to work on his confidence, whatever. Like, don't tell the media that because they're going to take it and run, you know?
Yeah.
Hey. And fuck Jalen Polk. Work on your confidence, fuck boy. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about it. Absolutely. Yeah. I wish coaches would go out here. Yeah. Yeah,
I
like
mean,
hands down. Let's go out here.
it might be a good thing. It's not
It
what
might-
I'm used to after dealing with
What I
Belichick.
think is, I think it might just be him trying to be the opposite of Bill Belichick, because he was around for all that time with Belichick. He knows how everything operated there, and he wants to make this team his own. So that might be one of his ways that hey, I'm going to be more talkative with the media because I don't want to be like Belichick. I want to take on a new identity with this team so it can be my team and it's not Belichick's team still.
But even before that, like, I mean, you're right, but it's just like with the whole like waiting for Drake May to start, it was always like Drake May's better, but we want to wait to put him in, and then we put him in against the Texans. That didn't seem like it just didn't seem right. I don't know.
It doesn't. I mean, it's just some weird decision making. Like I was telling you all the week leading up to it, I don't know why y'all are starting him in this game. Just pick any other
'cause,
game
like,
to start him.
The whole talk about it was that we were waiting for the right moment, and I was just like,
Yeah.
this does not seem like the right moment at all.
It's not
mean,
at all, but
it didn't turn out bad, but it was just like, why today of all days, you know?
and maybe part of it is they just finally trusted him because we can't know that inside their building. They'll say whatever they want to say, but
I mean, yeah, that's true, but still.
But I mean, it's a weird situation. They probably just had enough of Brissett. But the thing that I thought of going back to the AFC right now, this really reminds me of the NBA this year because you have one conference that is just so much worse than the other conference. Like, sure, the teams at the top, I'm not comparing them right now because I think they might be better than all the teams at the top of the NFC, or at least would put up a good fight. And I could say at least two of them would be better. But as a whole, the conference, you have, just like the Eastern Conference in the NBA every year, you have your top end teams, and after that, you just have a bunch of shit. And some of that shit will make it into the playoffs by virtue of being surrounded by other shit. Meanwhile, in the Western Conference, you have teams with good records ending up in the play-in because they just have to battle to get into the playoffs. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing with the NFL this year, which usually it's not this bad, but there's a clear gap between the top of the AFC and then just all the rest, unlike the NFC where it's a lot more condensed when you could say any of these teams could beat any of these teams within the playoff race.
Which is funny because we said in the beginning of the season that the NFC was supposed to be the much weaker conference. The NFC is more wide open. Well, I mean, it's not looking great. But I mean, I guess it is still wide open. I mean, we have the Bears at 4-2. What are we talking about? You know, I don't know. We're in a weird spot. I've been seeing some tweets though that the NFL has a bad product right now, but I'm not gonna get into that. That could be for next week. We gotta see. We gotta wait another week for that.
I don't think they got a bad. Yeah, well, I don't know about all that.
Yeah, we can revisit that in the future.
Yapping.
We'll see how it looks next week because we do got to get out of here. It's late, but I think it's going to be interesting to see how this season unfolds. Because like you're saying with the Bears, it's crazy seeing their record, but things will start to even out because teams that have played really easy schedules will usually have some harder games to play and vice versa. But that's the value of, like we say, steal these wins early because then when the race is wide open, you're in a good spot in it because you got those wins. Conversely, if you do what the Bengals did and you lose all these games, now you have no margin for error.
Hey, man. Steal the win. This is the Steal the Wins podcast. What are we talking about?
Is this
Steal those wins podcast.
I think that is a good point to call it, though.
One more thing.
Go for it.
Go Tigers. Fuck Ole Miss.
I was finna say, if you say anything about the Patriots, we're cutting the mic.
Yeah, I was going to say, with all that Drake May glazing, it's a good thing probably that Preston wasn't here when we were talking about the Commanders-Ravens game. So that would have been a whole new level of glaze fest.
Jaden Daniels, bro. Yeah.
But I can't say fuck Ole Miss either. My former teammate played for Ole Miss too. Can't say that.
Man, fuck your
Nah.
teammate, bro.
Damn.
Anyway,
Damn.
I'm going to